Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Click R3, number 42, right on time, 9:15 on the dot, exactly as we planned it. Not at all 9 o'clock. No. This is 9:15 all along. You're seeing things, Mandela effect, whatever else. You know, there's always 9:15. Ryan's working hard. He's working hard right now for Let's Talk PlayStation tomorrow morning. So people need to check that out. He's going crazy over there, putting in the hours, still has to edit. How you doing, Ryan?
Thank you, John. Thank you for airing out exactly what happened. At least you used to be late a lot, and it would be to 9:30. I only need 9:15.
That's true.
Just so we're clear. You know.
I was ready this time. I was at 9. I was ready to go.
You've been good. You've been good with it. So this one's on me. This one's on me.
Well, it's been a fun couple of weeks. So it's I was trying to figure out where to put the titles and stuff. I was like, Ryan will probably roll in with a ton of topics and it'll be a whole thing. But how'd everything go with you? You did Sons of Sparta. Did you go back to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth?
John, I told you my plan, right? So my plan was Sons of Sparta was kind of like an offshoot thing, like that squeezed in because it was a shadow drop. Finished that. Got back to my Yote playthrough. Yote is wrapped. I'm actually like 5-ish bronze away from platinum, which ironically Legends just came out. So did fucked up my trophy percentage anyway. Although there is New Game Plus, so I would have had to do the whole game again to get full 100%. But point is, finish up the main story. And I'm gonna get my platinum soon. With Yote done, I'm going back to Rebirth. Okay. I don't know if I can make this full vouch and commitment to the audience, but I do have 2 weeks of a window here. I'm near the end of Rebirth. So I'm thinking I'm going to give you all very good news. Click R3 episode 43. I'm going back to Rebirth. Yep.
Okay. Going back. Go back. Got to get it done because they are in the polishing phase right now for part 3. And you're going to be so mad if you see that trailer for part 3 because I have no idea how they don't spoil the game for you.
I won't, because that's the thing. I'm like 90-ish% done with the game. And that's like holistically, because I was doing everything like before the gold path.
Yep.
So I know I'm like near the end. I got to at least wrap up the main plot line so that I can avoid what you're referring to. And then I'll be all good.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. We're back to it. I did. Well, someone around here did get a platinum trophy, okay, since the last show.
I'm shocked.
Some of us did. Some of us get the platinum.
Yeah, I'm genuinely shocked.
I know, for a Neo game, too.
Yeah, well, I like looked up the trophy guide, and I'm like, this man really did all this extra stuff. You really did all that extra shit.
I did.
That's so
like
unlike you.
55 or 56 hours. Some people say it took 90 hours. I'm like, how did it take 90 hours? Although I didn't have as much trouble with this game as I thought I would. I mean, it was, I picture this being a really difficult game. It was difficult at times, but some of the bosses you go a few times against, and it's like, okay, I got it, and I take care of it. It felt very Elden Ring-like versus other, say, FromSoft Souls games, to where it's open. You can almost over-level yourself at times and just like roll through the game. And you have 2 different forms. So I was the ninja form 80% of the time and did not have much trouble against the bosses. I would be able to sneak behind them, basically, like dodge around behind them, and then you crit every time you hit them in the back. So some of them just melted if I was able to get behind them. And yeah, it went pretty well. And then the trophy list was like, find all these things on the map, but it marks them for you after a certain amount of time, and then you can teleport everywhere. There's like 140 fast travel spots in the game. So
okay,
it was quick. It went quick.
But that's what it takes for you. You have to, 1, like really love the game, and then 2, like they have to completely reduce the friction of cleanup. Because I'm borderline shocked that you like did that much extra shit for a platinum.
I think
you just don't do.
It's about the same. I'd say it's almost the same amount of time as Yote.
Well, I think Yote is showing, if the tracker counts properly for me right now, it is showing. No, mine hasn't updated in like a week.
Yeah, so it's here's that PS5 dashboard cut like timer. It doesn't line up to what it says in the game most times.
I've looked into it before. It's very accurate up to a point, and then at some point, like it just there's like a fork in the road, and it totally gets it off. But what it says right now is 47 hours. That was before I think 2 sessions I did.
Okay.
So I think I'm in the 50-ish range, and I think that's what trophy gods were saying for that anyway. So it's close enough, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's similar to the Neo 3 Platinum stuff then. But yeah, I got them the game and I looked and I was like, wow, I only have like 5 trophies to do and they're not hard. So
well, but see, this is the thing though. Like at 50 hours for a Platinum in Yote or Neo 3, I think it says like 70 to 80 hours for Rebirth for me. And I'm not even fucking close to being done. Like,
yeah, well, I know people who spent like 150 hours trying to get the Platinum in that game.
Yeah. I mean, for story, I am. I will say the one thing I didn't touch at all in Rebirth is any of the Chadley like boss simulations or none of the combat. I like left all that because I'm like, let me just level up and then I'll just like steamroll.
You need to come back and do that.
Yeah. So not worried about those. But I do want to ask John, are you marathon first week? Yeah.
Yep. I did play Marathon actually. I can tell you how many hours I played in a second when I turn this on. But I did play Marathon actually. I've been playing a few nights now. I played with Nate and MVG, and then in some cases I just decided to go ahead and play just by my solo, and occasionally I'd pair with some people. I tried doing solo runs, tried doing rook runs, which is solo without any of the contracts, or it's mostly just a character you use specifically to run in and you basically invade a game that's already going on, and you basically just go around, get stuff that you may need, and then leave. And like that's it. So it's mostly if you start to get kind of low on equipment, you use Rook to go in as a kind of a not necessarily carefree, but low risk, but high reward kind of situation. And that's cool. They have some cool abilities. But Marathon, man, I gotta tell you, this says I have 9.5 hours in the game right now.
Okay, you've definitely played a decent amount of it then.
I'm almost level 19. So I'm playing enough of it. I think the end game stuff will happen later on this month, I think, is what they're doing. And I guess I'll try to participate in that. But I played a lot of Arc Raiders, I will tell you that. Arc Raiders like took over for our multiplayer game. So I have kind of a direct comparison to it with Marathon. And I think Arc Raiders is the mainstream extraction shooter. And I think Marathon is going to be the more hardcore extraction shooter. It's not an easy game, and I think that's going to put people off. This is a game like Arc Raiders, you'd try to make friends with a lot of people. That does not happen in Marathon. When you see someone, it is immediate PvP.
It's on site.
There is no attempt to like, hey, let's work together, guys. Arc Raiders, you can shout something that's like, hey, don't shoot. And a lot of times they'll be like, I'd say half the time. It's like 50-50 in Arc Raiders. I've yet to see a person in Marathon not immediately go into, hey, this is a like a PvP arena shooter immediately.
Yeah, that shit's on site.
And you know, part of it I think might be because the game, it feels kind of horror. It's got like this horror vibe to it almost. Maybe the look of it leans into it. The fact that it's a first person shooter maybe leans into it, but it does feel very much like just a PvP game outright. And I actually like that more than the PvE stuff. It's funny when I come across people that we can engage and get in a fight with, I get kind of excited. And then because I'll talk to like Nate and others and they're a little more tepid about it. They're unsure. I'm like, let's go. Let's get these people. I'm ready.
John's got that dog in him.
Well, that's how, I mean, that just coming up with all the Halo and other things. It's Bungie doing the shooting. So it still has kind of that Destiny feel to it, but Destiny kind of at times had the Halo feel to it, you know? So Bungie they're very good at the shooting aspects. So the mechanics and stuff are good there. I just, man, the menus, it feels very much like a PC first game is the problem. And going through the menus, the controller isn't great, but yeah, it does have a steep learning curve trying to figure out what elements you need, because everything you get like equipment slots and the weapon types. There's a lot happening in it, but I think the people that it is able to grab and pull in, I think they're going to stick with it. Not only because they spent $40, but I think it has a compelling gameplay loop. If you're, I guess I'd say good at it. I'm trying to think of it. The Arc Raiders, I will say this is it feels very forgiving compared to this one, because in Arc Raiders, it was easier to get into a game, not encounter people if you don't necessarily want to, and then leave. Man, this game almost funnels you at each other, like face first. It's like, all right, go get them. So I like it though.
That does seem to be the read, is that Arc Raiders is that mainstream sort of, I don't know if it's like that humorous per se, but it has a certain levity to it. Whereas it seems like Marathon is this like very grounded, stoic, like as you're describing it, like you get in there and it's like, it's on site. Like it's very, has a competitive nature to it.
It does.
And so I could see how it's like carving out a certain, I don't want to say niche, because like the game actually debuted pretty strong, which is, I don't know if that's surprising per se, but it's like, like the language tends to be with any of these live service games that it's going to be a Concord or something, but it's like, it's like 100,000 something.
Oh, it's
like
definitely not Concord.
Yeah, for like a peak CCU, which that's always like kind of misleading because that could be a much bigger number for like total players. But like for the peak CCU being 140,000 and then day one launch, it's like 88,000 for the base game. Like, that like people paid for that. So they found an audience. Now it's more about like how they're going to maintain that,
Oh yeah, it's absolutely going to come down to maintaining it. They seem to be doing a lot in terms of the meta and releasing content for whatever this end game thing is going to be, but it seems like it's settled just on Steam. Like each night, 60,000 current players, what it usually ends up like peaking at. And I would assume if you then take Xbox and PlayStation, combine them, it's probably what's happening on Steam. So I'd say it's probably north of 100,000 current players each night so far since it's come out. That seems very sustainable for Bungie and Sony. So, and the fact that they've sold X amount of copies at $40, and there's microtransactions and things you can buy for cosmetics. And I still think they should have made Destiny 3, but this yeah, I mean, I think that would have done better, and I think Destiny's in a weird place right now, but it has such a big fandom that's ready to come back to it if Bungie did something like that. Whereas Marathon's kind of starting from the ground up because let's face it, no one played Marathon on the PC back in the day.
Yeah, that's like it's effectively a new game. It's a case I make with like Helldivers too. It's for all intents and purposes, it's a new IP. It's funny you mentioned the cosmetics. That was like a big story. Like, do you know that the in-game currency Lux, that was like a thing where like you'd spend $10 and you get 1,100 of it, but the cosmetics are like 1120.
Yep.
How do you launch the game like that?
Apparently they had to they had to fix it, or I don't know. They're all scratching things that happen, and all I can assume is it's miscommunication between departments inside these companies.
Yeah, that's weird.
So it's really funny. I don't know. I guess they fixed it. Honestly, the cosmetics in these games are very secondary for me. Like, so I look through. They have like, it's kind of like skill trees. You buy them from these different agents, and you put points into it, which is you buy it with your credits. But I see these skill trees eventually get to a really nice looking sniper, for example. I was like, oh, well, I want to be able to buy that on demand. Whereas before you'd have to, if you take somebody out and they have it on them, you could take it, but it's not guaranteed like it would be if it was in the shop and I had enough money, I could just buy it and, equip it and go. So that's the kind of stuff I'm interested in. So,
well, game season 1 runs to, what is it? August. Season 2 starts in August. That season's called Nightfall. They're making the vouch. No, you don't have to pay for anything, so you're just going to get all the updates and everything. It seems like just monetize cosmetics. Just
Yeah, the thing I'm a little annoyed about, and people are still kind of unsure as how to feel about it. When they do the next season, you mentioned it's what was it? Nightfall.
Nightfall is what it's called.
They're going to reset everything.
Yeah, well, this is what turns me off about extractions. Like, I did jump into Server Slam, but dude, I played like 30 minutes. I'm like, this is just, it's not for me. I'm sure I could have like put more time into it, but I think that to me is just the turn off of like losing all your hard work. So like things stick with you, but you lose like the overwhelming majority of the shit you got, right? Like,
if you die in the game, you will. But you're talking about with this reset. Apparently, they're going to keep your agent levels, to my understanding, which is what honestly the bar takes a while to fill up anyway. So I'm like, oh, there's so many to level up. I would hope so, but everything else they're going to reset.
Your gear, contract progression, faction progression, and player level will be reset. Earned cosmetics and purchases stay with you. Same with the codex progression. It's just it's not for me. It's definitely not for me. You made a good point too about like inventory management. That was like, I'm sure you'd get fast with it on a controller the more you play with it, but it's it seemed very not as intuitive.
Yeah. Also, I like when I'm going through. So at one point, me and a team of two people that joined in because I rolled the dice. They're pretty good too, and we end up killing like 8 or 9 people, like multiple teams. And every time we took one of them out, because when you do knock them down, you got to go up and you got to like stab them to. And after we wiped like the second team, I thought, man, those are 6 people who are probably really mad right now. And it makes me wonder how many people have the sense of, oh, I'm getting back in versus I think that's enough, you know, because it's you lose all your cool. One person I opened up their pack and they had so much good stuff, and I'm like, man, that's I can't even carry it. I just took them out just to take them out, apparently.
Damn, son. All right.
Yeah, we've killed a lot of people. It's I'm one of those probably annoying people on the servers.
Oh, so I'd hate you if I ran into you.
I'm sure a lot of people hate me right now. Not that I'm killing everybody, but because sometimes you're just wandering, you get I'll look in a pack, and then somebody will start shooting me in the back. So that happens. But I would say I definitely have taken out a lot more people than I've been taken out by. So
you're ruthless.
I don't second guess. All right, when I see the opportunity, it's time to strike.
I shoot on sight.
Oh yeah, that's the. I'm telling you, dude, some people hesitate, and it's over. Like as soon as they hesitate, it's done.
Yeah, that's not like the playground for that, basically.
Yep.
All right, well, we can get into some fast news stories real quick. We have that PS Plus Extra and Premium March lineup, which was revealed recently. This goes live on the 17th. Have a handful of games on Extra: Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, Persona 5 Royal, Madden NFL 26, Blasphemous 2, Metal Eden, The Lord of the Rings, Return of Moira, Astroneer. And then on Premium, we have Tekken Dark Resurrection on PSP. One classic. This is like months now of a single classic.
I know, but it's like
months.
And it's not a cheap service to be on, you know, and that's the thing that differentiates it. Because I do have to think about. I will admit, sometimes I go, man, what is this premium service doing for me right now? That I ask that sometimes because I see a game like that and go, it's not really something I'm interested in playing right now. I don't know what the trophy list looks like. If you look at it and be like, oh, maybe that's a good like 30 for 30 platinum thing. I'm not sure, but I mean, especially when the premium game shows up and doesn't even have trophy support, that's a whole thing. But what's that? 6 classic games in 6 months for this service?
Well, if you think about it too, like the overwhelming majority of the classics you can buy, if you want the classics, like you could just buy them,
right?
And then you buy the ones you want too, because I think it would be a bold assumption to think that you'd want to buy and play every one of them, unless you're a big fan of Disney's Pixar WALL-E. So you probably wait for the handful of times you want. Like if you're not playing the classics or streaming PS5 games or playing the trials, what are you paying $160 a year for? That's steep, man.
Yeah, especially since Extra is what, 110 or 115 or something.
Yeah. Or if you want to stream PS3 games, which I don't know why the fuck you'd do that, but
yeah, it's 160 a year. Yeah.
It's a tough value proposition.
They got to work this out. I don't know. Are they scrounging that much for games? Is it a struggle? WALL-E and this Tekken PSP game back-to-back months?
No, I mean, the classic thing is definitely an issue of like what Implicit's running into, because they're the ones that are doing these games. It's just simply, one, they're not a small team. So I don't want to like say, oh, I can't believe you guys can't get more games out. They're not a big team by any stretch. But I would just suspect that they just can't find that many partners. Like if you think about all the games that come back nowadays, like it's almost always the publishers want to like just do it in-house. Right. And they have they just monetize it differently. Like they'll put out a $20, $30 version. Why emulate it and put it for $10 on PSN through Sony's program, you know? It's like they very clearly made a long-term agreement with Disney.
Yeah. Yep.
They got all those fucking games coming back. Bandai Namco was like, okay, you can have some. Capcom was like, okay, you can have some. But I think it's just hard to find good partners.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because when this started up, this was always the section that I thought would be exciting. And they'd be like, man, they're the PS1, PSP, and then PS2 games are going to be dropping, and this will be really cool. Think about, we were making lists of games, and I don't think we've hit on any of them so far, or I'd say most of them, you know. And it's just like, come on, let's can we do a PSP and a PS1 game even? Can we do that? Is that possible?
They used to.
I know. That's why it feels like there's a struggle happening. I don't know. It's very weird.
And Extra, I think, is kind of light this month too. Blasphemous is good. Persona 5.
Persona 5 is good, yeah.
Lose 100 hours of your life to that game. You can do that.
Madden, though, it's like, yeah, okay, I guess. I mean, the football season's over, but okay. The draft maybe is coming up, so people will be like, it's fun. I have it in my service now. Okay. Yeah. It's I feel like this is a month people, other than, I mean, Persona 5. I feel like most people who want to play Persona 5 have played it, but you never know. I guess there's some, although, it does make me think, Ryan, this is a good move if Persona 6 is coming up soon.
I'd love to think that's happening. I'd love to believe you.
It's a good move for that.
Is it happening?
I don't know. It feels like this is a good move if that's going to be happening soon, because you want to get people thinking about Persona again.
Do you do that before you have anything substantial to show for Persona 4? What are they calling it? Revival? That's what they're calling it?
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could, just because, look, Persona 4 has been out multiple times as it is anyway, right? They could still release that. And most fans who are going to buy it are, I'd say, more hardcore fans in the Persona universe. Yeah, I think you could still do it. Would you be sad? Would you be like, man, like, we can't see that Persona 6 trailer until Persona 4 comes out?
Oh no, definitely not. I want to see 6 for sure. Yeah. You gotta think about it. 5 is a PS3 game.
Isn't that crazy?
It's a PlayStation, it's a PS3 game. So
I think I have it on the PS3 for some reason.
for some reason.
I think I do.
John, we could cover up. So here's the problem with Click R3. Sometimes we do this show, and then the show actually ignites a fire, which is the things we were speculating on. Then we get news for it right away. So let's at least cover that biggest Bloomberg report that Jason Schreier wrote up about the Bluepoint situation. We speculated a lot about that, but the report came out after Click R3. So now we know that, yes, they were pitching Bloodborne. Just so a lot came out, just to summarize it, because actually Jason did the article. Then he showed up on GameSpot talking a little bit, and he added some context there. So we learned that Bluepoint pitched Bloodborne before and after they were acquired. So it was like always a financial thing. It always made sense. But just to give you like the timeline here, they did the God of War live service game. That was after, they were acquired and working on Ragnarok. Apparently that game was based on Atreus falling into Hades. And the loose idea with that is that players would be playing different aspects of Atreus, and there's some sort of like co-op element, but that didn't really go anywhere, obviously. So canceled January 2025. Then Bluepoint staff wanted to work on traditional action games like Demon's Souls or Ragnarok instead of live service. So there was definitely some internal conflict on wanting to do something that wasn't necessarily a live service game. But 2025, they pitched Bloodborne again. The studio was told the numbers made sense, but From Software didn't want it to happen, according to people familiar with the process. That's the big thing. That's what we learned, is that Bloodborne definitely did happen. It was pitched. Some Bluepoint staff are under the assumption that this is a game that they would be working on at some point. Here's the thing too. I'm glad that we finally have an answer about Bloodborne.
Yeah.
But like, I'm sure I've said it on my channel many times. We've said it here on Click R3. I'm sure you might have even said it. But like, the company knows it works. It's got to be a FromSoft thing. It has to be a FromSoft thing. And the fact that Shuhei Yoshida even said his own personal speculation, which I don't know if he's like saying that just to like play it safe, passing it off as speculation, or if he really knew. But his running theory was they want to respect FromSoft as the creators of the property. Sony owns it. They can do whatever they want with it, but it's about relationships in the games business. This turned into a whole thing because basically with the Demon's Souls remake, there's this idea that Miyazaki was not happy with the way Demon's Souls came out, the 2020 remake. Which oddly enough, if you go back and look at like official language, the only official, which this is PR stuff, but the official language that we have about Demon's Souls is that Bluepoint and Sony did reach out to FromSoft and ask for their blessing on that particular game, which they were allowed to do. They weren't involved in it, obviously. And Miyazaki, as I think early as 2022, or as recent as 2022, said like, "Oh yeah, it looks good, looks nice. I'm glad more people get to experience it." But the murmuring going on is that he either wasn't happy with it, or there's actually a bit of a souring on that relationship. So it's a bit soft. Sony wants to protect the creative, not rights, but the creative belief that they might not want the game to be touched unless they can work on it. That's what we know.
Yeah, maybe there's just a lot going on from. I mean, they're working on the Dusk Bloods. There could be some other stuff that we don't know behind the scenes that they're working. So there could be multiple projects, and I assume there are. And maybe they really just, when it's time to do Bloodborne, they're looking for where the stars align and they can bring together the talent within FromSoft to work on it. But you might be right. Maybe they really didn't want Bluepoint to just do it anyway after what they saw with Demon's Souls, which is unfortunate because I get people will talk about the art style. The game itself was technically good. Like in terms of the technical aspect, I think visually speaking, it's still one of the most impressive looking games on the PS5, and it was a launch title. So in that regard, it's a good game. But the art stuff is gonna be up to interpretation anyway. Still, though, it seems like if you want the game to be from a technical side good, you would use Bluepoint, and then you have FromSoft come in and maybe do some of the work more so than what happened with Demon's Souls on the artistic vision, you can say. And look, I get it. Bloodborne does have that kind of an artistic interpretation to it that makes it Bloodborne. So if they were concerned that Bluepoint would, I mean, they kind of shinied up maybe Demon's Souls a little more than they wanted them to. It did. It looked a little too nice, I guess is what people say. In terms of the look, everything looked almost perfect. Everything. Like you have a kind of a rustic effect to it in Demon's Souls on the PS3. Although some of that I think is to cover up the limitations of that generation and what it could even do anyway. But man, the real thing is a shame is you have what I think is a big time seller in Bloodborne. FromSoft bigger than ever right now, especially post Elden Ring. The amount of copies, the amount of interest that this would generate would be pretty big. And especially if you're Sony right now, and we're going to talk about their exclusive stuff, man, they got to be looking at this like, come on, can't we just figure this out? Because we're going to make it exclusive. That's just that. I mean, they own the IP, so obviously they're going to do that. And this will make a good PS6 launch title. And I guess it hasn't been in the cards for a while because they said they've pitched it multiple times, right?
Yeah.
So I assume maybe even that first time might have been like PS6 launch game. Maybe we did the Demon Souls. That was a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know I want to say fact, but Jason's well sourced. So from what he's saying, it was pitched before and after the acquisition, multiple times. Like everyone thought this. I mean, I know it's like silly to like clown on and joke about the whole Bloodborne meme thing, but like, dude, these people aren't stupid. They know it works. They know, like Sony knows that this game would do well, but it's like we just never knew what the missing puzzle piece was. And I think the only safe explanation was it's a FromSoft thing, despite Sony owning the IP. The weird thing is, or what really complicates matters, is like Bloodborne is like really stuck here. Because Sony knows it's a valuable property. They wouldn't want to like give it up, but FromSoft is also like a premier studio now. You know, they can really kind of do whatever they want and agree to whatever projects they want. Like FromSoft games Souls games in particular are like a huge cultural icon now ever since Elden Ring. So why would they want to tie themselves up working on something they don't own anymore? Like that was the big thing about them owning Elden Ring now.
Yeah.
So it's like, how does Bloodborne ever happen anymore? If they want to respect, like they want to respect the creative aspect of it.
Right.
But how does a sequel ever happen if they like just can say yes to anything they want?
You know what I wonder though is, okay, so this has been turned down, then we assume multiple times because they pitched it multiple times. Is it possible that Sony and FromSoft, they are working on Bloodborne within FromSoft mostly, and that's kind of a need-to-know basis. Bluepoint doesn't need to know that. They were told, you're not doing Bloodborne, basically. No reason, it seems like, was really given other than what was kind of speculated on, according to Jason Schreier. And Bluepoint doesn't need to know that much then, if that's the case, because it's just the thing that I will say this gives me at least mild hope for there being something done with Bloodborne in the future, is that they still have not done anything to patch the PlayStation 4 Bloodborne game to just raise the frame rate. People are just like, man, if this was 60, it'd be much better. If the resolution was just a bit higher, it'd be much better. That's all they really care about at this point. Because look, you play it on the PS5 even backwards compatible, it feels slow. This is locked to 30. Now, especially in a world where we have a lot of 60 FPS games on the PS5, it's like just unlock the frame rate, if anything. That's what we've seen that it can work. People have already modded the thing like crazy because go figure, people have gone through the lengths of modding their PS5, like doing all this patchwork to the ISO file or whatever, so that it can lift the frame rate. And that's the only thing. It's like that feels very much like a company going, we're going to do something eventually. We don't want to give them what they want yet. We want to give them what they want in the game. We're going to resell them or sell them again.
See, the problem with the frame rate patch thing is, at least like officially, the game was made on such an old dev kit. Like it was that's like pre PS4 Pro days. And my understanding has always been that if you want to bring those games up and like patch them again, like they have to get brought up to like the most modern, up to date dev kit, which means there's just a whole bureaucracy behind the scenes of like bringing the game up to code on that recent dev kit to then deploy a patch like that. And so you can't patch it on that kit anymore. It's like a pre PS4 Pro days. Those kits and that build is ancient. So there's just a certain level of bureaucracy to like do an official patch versus the sort of very clear behind the scenes, tampering you can do with the game files and then getting like running it on. It's basically unsigned code at that point on PlayStation hardware.
Also, look, we never thought we'd see Metal Gear Solid 4 actually get off the PS3, and it's happening. So don't give up hope, Bloodborne people. Don't give up hope. The Metal Gear Solid 4 people stuck with it, and they finally got what they wanted. So,
well, I've seen people make the point. I think it's valid, which is like, I don't think this ever happens unless Sony like agrees to sell it. Like I think Miyazaki actually would want to do it, but like, why would FromSoft work on a property they don't own anymore when they kind of have this fuck it, we can do what we want attitude, because they're hot shit now. The only like Bloodborne like path here is basically Sony agreeing to sell it, which why would they do that? Although that might have a stipulation in itself of like, okay, we'll agree to do that, but we still want exclusivity or something.
Yeah,
they gave the Death Stranding IP back to Kojima after 5 years.
No, that is fair. They could do something
for
with
10 years, whatever it was.
Who owns the? Okay, so the Dustbloods, does FromSoft own that too?
I would assume, but I could be wrong. I think that's just a standard publishing agreement.
Yeah,
like Nintendo got the exclusivity, but they still.
If that's the case, then yeah, maybe that's what has to happen. Bloodborne would have to revert back to FromSoft, some kind of sale or deal or something, and that's how if that's what has to happen, I don't think Bloodborne fans care one way or the other. That's what has to happen.
Definitely not. It's just such a slam dunk. Bring that game. Well, previously I would have said bring that game to PS5 and PC, and they would have just sold like 10 million copies all day, every day, but that's not happening.
No, but it might be leverage for Sony if they really want to. They're going to try to sell this PS6 somehow. I mean, that's where you go. Hey, you know what? Bloodborne is exclusive. It's like, what are you going to do?
I mean, if they're that's the thing. If they're willing to give Kojima a deal where like they sell the IP back after a certain amount of time, they might play ball. Like Sony does play ball. I think
they own part of FromSoft anyway, don't they?
I mean, like, yeah, they have like a minority stake in Katakawa and FromSoft. Yeah, I mean, but that doesn't necessarily mean they can just get away with getting the studio to do more Bloodborne.
No, but I'm saying they have like equity in them in terms of, sure, they buy so many shares, but like they have a vested interest in the company doing well in the future going forward. So maybe that's something else that plays into the idea of, man, if we figured out Bloodborne, and maybe it comes down to us giving it up, but we have so many contracts or whatever legal stuff is written up that we still get like first say or whatever else on exclusivity.
Right.
That might be it.
Well, and to clear up the rest of the Bluepoint stuff, we did also learn the build up to their closure. So after the Bloodborne thing was rejected and they had their God of War game canceled, the only named projects that Bluepoint pitched was an updated version of Shadow of the Colossus remake. Sony turned that down. and then they attempted more original content by pitching new projects and other franchises, such as a spin-off for Ghost of Tsushima. Nothing was greenlit. They say new projects and other franchises. Schreier only names Tsushima. So there would have been a new Ghost game by Bluepoint. And here's another crucial point about the whole Bluepoint thing. He wrote that some of the other studios have been facing heavy financial pressure in recent years, and they were concerned about dedicating resources to someone else's project. Now, that's very important because I've made this point about Bluepoint before, is that the weird thing about them is they don't have like leads. Like they don't have a game director. You know, these are very crucial roles to like lead a project. So like with Demon's Souls, you have Gavin Moore to do it. But like if they're going to do something else, like they bring in other leads and other directors to do those like remaster or remake projects. Mm-hmm. So like with the like God of War thing, I thought for a long time, like, oh, they're actually just supporting Santa Monica's next game or something. And we find out it's live service. Obviously, that was crazy. But this creates an interesting conflict of interest in that maybe the amount of things Bluepoint was pitching, like there was a conflict with other internal studios of, you know, whether depending on who they were pitching to, the other teams were like, well, we don't want to give you a game director or something. And we don't want to have to assign a bunch of people to like oversee this project and lead it or something when that's their financial, you know, because the studios have their own like profit and loss. They have their own money. Like they are still like their own organizations in a way. So that was an interesting point that I think a lot of people are like overlooking here, is that Bluepoint were maybe in like a really tough spot. You know, I think you could argue some of these pitches are weird, but like some of these, like they might in a way have been maybe hung out to dry. You know?
Yeah, that's when I saw the Ghost one, I said, "Oh, really?" Because let me ask you this: would you have been disappointed if the PlayStation Studios logo came up, you know, animation, then Bluepoint came up, and you'd be like, "Oh, here we go, okay," and then it's Ghost Tsushima spinoff? Well, I mean, I think there were a lot of people who were like, "Oh, what?"
Well, here's the thing, though, right? Like when they were first acquired, and they were so specific about the language, saying like, we're going to not do remasters and remakes anymore. We want to do original content, but they were saying original content. And for the longest time, they said original content. Then the Insomniac breach happened, and there was a slide saying that they were working on original content. Like nowhere did this say it was like a new IP. So original content to me always meant, oh, you're working on an existing franchise, but maybe a new entry. Right. So if the Tsushima thing was greenlit, that would have like totally fit the profile. Depending on what that looked like, I might have thought it was cool or not, but
I would have had to have changed so much about the. I'm already ready. I'm kind of getting ready for Sucker Punch to kind of move on from the Ghost franchise too. I'm like, what else could they do?
Yeah, like I just wrapped up Yote and like I loved it, but my immediate thought was, I think you guys need to like do something new now. Not to say like I wouldn't like a third Ghost game, but I don't know, man. I sort of different. Yeah, well, I'd like to see them. Yeah, like they've been on this for a long time now, 10 years, basically, from the very first development of Tsushima to shipping Yote, you know, like sometimes I like to see these studios put things down and move on. And that's the PlayStation way, is that they do put things down and move on.
Hey, Neo Tokyo move like way in the future or some crazy thing like for Ghost, all of a sudden we're thousands of years into the future. Mm-hmm. I think if it's that again, what we just saw, and they move forward 100 years again or something, I'm like, a couple hundred years. That'll feel somewhat disappointing for them. I'm ready for Sucker Punch to move on and do something new. And if Bluepoint had shown up with that, I'd been like, that's weird. Maybe it could have been good, but it would have felt kind of disappointing for the build-up. Remember, we had the build-up for Bluepoint. They were showing us the holiday cards, and people were like, "Oh, what's the sword and the shield thing? What does that mean?" And then it's like, "Oh, wait, that means it's for some reason a Ghost Tsushima spinoff." That's not what people were guessing. That's not at all. When I saw the Shadow of the Colossus one, though, that one I think it'd be cool because it sounds like they were going to do like cutting room floor bosses, like that would come back, and the Shadow of the Colossus fandom's all about that kind of stuff. Would have been neat. But that one, when I read it, felt a little desperate. Well, because it'd be quick. They would have turned it around fast and have been like, "Look, we can do this." And yeah,
right. No, but that's a good point. Like the last thing I want to do is like blame Bluepoint. You know, that they're the smaller company getting absorbed into a big organization. But like, surely there was probably a really weird scenario of like they were pitching things that maybe it doesn't sound that good on paper. I'm not sure if that was really super viable because even Shadow of the Colossus, the original remake, that game didn't make a ton of money. I think it lost money, didn't it?
Yeah, I just don't think we know the exchange either between Sony and Bluepoint, because I would have thought that Sony would have had an idea for them. Like, hey, here's 3 ideas. What do you think? And if Bluepoint just spent no, no, and no, how about we do Shadow Colossus update or a Ghost, and then are they really at an impasse to where they go, nope, that's it. We're not doing anything then. It's not going to work. Because that's crazy to me. I don't know. The whole thing is just it's just ugly.
It is. I mean, I still don't agree. I think there's surely something they could have done. Definitely a turnaround project just to get money back into the studio.
I can't believe they couldn't even help another. I mean, they helped. They worked with Sony Santa Monica this whole time on Ragnarok. They couldn't have helped. I don't know, done anything to bring in money. I don't know.
Well, but that's like the cutthroat thing to say. Like, they're in Austin. Like, that labor is expensive.
Yeah. I mean, it's 70 people. It's like 70 people. It feels like 100.
I hate saying it though, but I'm like, I think you can see all day, every day why Sony did it, because they can outsource that shit to cheaper places. It's a terrible thing to say, but that's probably what went into the decision.
Here's a question for you, Ryan. At the end of that report, did you see what Jason Schreier said?
I wrote it down. Let me go back because I believe I know what you're referring to here.
Said there were calls coming in potentially.
Yeah. Right. Yep. Yeah, I wrote it down there. I would imagine that's not going to go anywhere.
Okay. So hold on. We saw this though with Tango. They got picked up by Crafton. We saw Toys for Bob. I think there was for Toys for Bob, the way that they got out of with Microsoft was, I think there was like a private, somebody came in with money basically, and they worked it out. I don't know. You think is there any possibility that something happens and Bluepoint comes out the other side still whole?
No.
No.
I think what if anything, if the teams want to, like if Marco Thrush wants to do this, Peter Dalton, some of the big names at Bluepoint, if they want to like take that leap of faith, they start a new company.
Okay.
I think that's maybe the best case scenario. I don't think Sony would humor selling it. No, that's just something they don't do. They've sold IP before. Very, very rarely they'll sell back an IP, but not something like the studio being salvaged in that manner.
That was interesting. They were getting calls. Like, it's like we're talking about the trade deadline or something for sports. It's like, they're getting calls. Oh man, I don't know, first and a third maybe for Bluepoint.
Yeah. No, I think Bluepoint as we know it is gone now.
People were bringing up all kinds of companies to buy them from. Someone said Microsoft. Like, I don't know if this is Microsoft's cards, but I thought it was interesting. People were just naming companies that were going to come buy Bluepoint. How much? We never found out how much they bought Bluepoint for, did we?
No, I don't know. I don't think that was disclosed.
I'm curious.
I don't think it was in the breach either. Nothing like that.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess you're right. It would most likely end up as some studio that a handful of them form or something. So,
yeah. The other story that we missed again from Jason Schreier. I mean, there's not much new information here, but it was like an official report that Jason said he was going to do anyway about the PC games. So Sony no longer plans to release big single player games on PC. Online games like Marathon and Marvel Tokon will still release on multiple platforms, but single player games like Yote, Saros, and he even talked about this on Reset Era just briefly, but pretty much really driving this point across home. Even Wolverine are not coming to PC. So these sources do caution that things can change in this unpredictable environment. But in recent weeks, PC plans for Yote and other internal games were scrapped. Games made by external partners but published by PlayStation. That could be DS2. That could be Canis, Garza, Cosmora. Those are still coming to PC. But there's been some apparently internal conflict at PlayStation. People expressing concern that PC releases are risking some damage to the PlayStation brand, and that could harm PS5 sales and possible successors as well.
This set off the internet. This did. Yeah, the report did. I mean, some of the mention did, but the report absolutely did. And people are just trying to figure out why. Like, there's so much just trying to figure out why this is happening. And I mean, it seems obvious to me why Sony is doing this. And I'll say Jason Schreier most likely is correct on this one. I know people go, well, it's not confirmed. I don't think Sony's going to come out and be like, hey, Wolverine's never coming to PC or something. Like it just won't go to PC. It'll be like Gran Turismo, still a PlayStation only game. It never went to PC. It'll be like that situation of, oh, maybe this year it'll go, and it just doesn't. So that one, by the way, writing kind of on the wall there, it's like, they were never fully comfortable going all in on the PC side. They were always like half in, half out. Like, hey, we're gonna do a year later, 2 years later. We'll think about it with Gran Turismo, but then it never happens. So they never fully committed. The only thing I would have liked to have seen, just them run the experiment of what happens if one of our big single player games is on PC day one alongside of the PS5 release or PS6 release. And it's a good port, the whole thing. There's no hangups. And it's an IP like a Spider-Man or something, or God of War, that people will recognize right out of the chute. What do those numbers look like?
Well, John, it's funny you mentioned, we did have a report from Newzoo, which is a research firm, and they released some data about the PS Studio games on PC and the staggered launches, trying to explain maybe what's going on here. They say, quote, Newzoo's data shows that PlayStation titles ported to PC after their console launch typically see PC account for around 13% of total players in the first 3 months across both releases. By comparison, when comparable AAA titles launch simultaneously on PC and console, PC contributes closer to 44% of players in the same period. What's notable is that, and this is still a quote here, what's notable is that the pattern is not specific to Sony's first-party portfolio. We see almost no difference between first-party PlayStation titles, 12% PC share, and third-party PlayStation exclusives, 13%, suggesting the outcome is primarily driven by the staggered release strategy rather than the franchise demand on PC. The key takeaway is that release timing has a significant impact on PC engagement. When a PC version arrives years after the console launch, much of the early lifecycle demand has already been captured on the primary platform.
That's interesting, because then it's people aren't waiting for these games. They're just getting a PlayStation to play them.
I wouldn't even say that. Here's the thing. What confuses me is, like, we've had a lot of examples. I think there's just so many like historical data points to look at that says if a game is big and good enough, like it does well where it goes. I think no doubt, like, these games are impacted when they show up later on PC, because there is that like marketing cycle, the launch hype, and there's just a lot of enthusiasm and certainly word of mouth. So yeah, like if Spider-Man 2 drops on PC day one, I'm sure it's going to do better than what it did. I'm just not fully convinced that's like the number one problem, because like these games continue to have sales legs on PlayStation. Like on their home console, they consistently climb, and that's how you get to like 5 million, then 10, then 11, 12. It takes a while for Sony to like give us sales milestones, but eventually they'll be like, oh yeah, that game sold like 15 million copies. It's like, right. Jesus Christ, last time you talked about this game, it sold 3 million in 2 days or something.
Yeah. So I don't know why they're so quiet about it sometimes. You feel like some of those milestones have been big to talk about, but yeah, you're right.
But it's interesting, right? So it's like, maybe there's definitely some issues with the games not debuting, but it doesn't really explain that the games continue to like sell on PlayStation and they're like dead on PC. They struggle to do like the 500,000 to 1 million, and then they just never seem to like climb after that, I don't know, it's weird. Like you see like Forza Horizon go to PlayStation well after, and the game, well, sure enough, you send it to a big install base and there's like demand for it. So I don't know. I'm not fully sold on this idea that that's like the main problem.
Well, I mean, a lot of it also does hinge on Steam. And if you look at Steam, a lot of the most popular games, I mean, they are these live service titles still. I know Counter-Strike 2 is incredibly popular, but you look up and down the list, and Arc Raiders has been massive for them. But I bet you if I go right now to the Steam DB, it's always Counter-Strike 2 and it's always Dota 2. Slay the Spire 2 is like blown up, very, very popular in China. And that has done significant numbers for them. But even elsewhere in the world, also, pretty popular. But for the most part, it's like Arc Raiders, PUBG, Rainbow Six Siege, Deadlock, Marvel Rivals, Overwatch, Apex Legends. You get the idea. These are the games that are popular on PC, and that's why you see something like Helldivers 2 do really well. They gave us a number for revenue, didn't they? It was like $2.5 billion that they've made off of PC.
1.5.
1.5 billion.
Or 1.5% of total revenue.
Yeah. And how much of that do you think is Helldivers 2?
Well, I mean, these are the numbers we went over the last episode.
Yeah.
We know it's a pretty inconsequential number if you like consider the whole organization.
Right.
I'm still surprised. I'm still surprised though. Like I would have thought like that extra 5-10% on a per game basis is probably, I don't know if necessary is the right word, but like you think about a game like Saros and like that game's still going to be fairly niche to a degree. It's not going to do Spider-Man 2 numbers. You think like that game might need another, 100,000 units on PC, but I mean, obviously Sony just feels it's not worth the squeeze.
Well, then also with Spider-Man 2, people were mentioning that the port wasn't very good on PC, and that it seems like they might have a good port and they have a bad port. They have a good port and a bad port. So I do wonder about the bad ports and how much damage that can do for the brand on that side as well with PC, to where people go, we'll see how the PlayStation game ends up when it gets here. I'm sure there's multiple reasons as to why. What do you think about the people saying that the next Xbox, the Project Helix, but then also the Steam machine, if Sony continues down this path and gets to a day and date release, those can play the games in the living room then?
Yeah, right. And look, it's totally a valid point that people are making about that machine. The thing is, if they're like that concerned about that, like why not full send it? Like just delist your shit now. It's at that point it becomes a bit of an optics thing. Like we can say right here before Helix comes out, and this is the safest prediction anybody can make, that Helix is going to come out, somebody's going to launch a PS Studio game, and it's going to go viral. Yeah, look at the Xbox. We're calling it now. Like, so optically, yeah. I'm sure PlayStation is not going to be happy with that, and they won't be happy with the prospect of like their existing, if they keep doing these games, right? That those marquee titles will be playable on what was previously like a very close competitor. I'm not sure how much of that went into the decision making here, because one, that's already going to happen. They've already got PC games. Even if they delist them, they can't discriminate hardware. Like people still have, like the games are out. So people have them in their library. The viral posts are going to happen when it happens. Optically, that sucks. But we have every indicator in the book that Helix is going to be a very, very different console. Like a low volume, expensive box. Like, so I just don't know how concerned PlayStation really is with that. It's just got to be like a juice not worth the squeeze thing.
What do you also think about Nishino calling the shots now? Do you think the idea of putting a big primary focus on the console itself now, going into even the PS6 generation, the way that, because I assume these decisions are made with the idea of what are the next 5 years of development going to look like for us. But what do you think about the idea that Nishino now, with a more like traditional Japanese view maybe on this division with PlayStation, maybe making that call because of the idea of the focus on the console and the brand, as we've seen traditionally with PlayStation coming up with the 1, 2, 3, and even 4 for a while?
No, I think we got into that the last episode. I think it definitely is kind of one of those short-term Nishino things. It's like, it's hard to make a appreciable difference on games that take like 7 years to make, but this, like, PC ports are one of those short-term things that you can kind of pump the brakes on and see like a pretty fast change. I would think it's certainly a Nishino thing. If anything, it's pretty surprising that Nishino like has approval to do this, because with Hiroki Totoki, he's formerly a finance guy. He's the former CEO of the organization. Now he's the president and CEO. Like, he's a heavy numbers guy. And it's actually pretty somewhat surprising that he's also in complete agreement that like, okay, like, we're fine to not chase like this extra 1% of revenue here and there. He understands maybe the sort of qualitative analysis of maybe we shouldn't do this because it long term could be a potentially brand damaging thing.
There's just people are trying to figure out why this is happening. I think it's just they want to sell the console. This is pretty straightforward. They want to sell the box and exclusives, which, by the way, I've noticed, Ryan, maybe it's just because we're older. coming up with the idea of exclusives selling systems, but there is an interesting pushback on exclusives now more than ever.
Well, I mean, the world's been very different lately too, you know. I think like grew up playing games where like exclusivity was like the most widely accepted known entity. And nowadays, you know, you boot up an Xbox game, it's got a PS Studios logo.
Yeah.
And you've got a PS Studios logo on Switch. I mean, all these things are like highly contingent on the existing deals and what happened. You know, you can explain away maybe why Sony would experiment with a Bandai Namco, or why they would do the Lego thing, or maybe their hands are tied with the MLB Association. And it is kind of a different environment now with like signing deals in general. Like an older Sony would have like locked down, if they're doing a deal, basically they want the IP and it's not going anywhere. Nowadays, Sony says, okay, we want timed console exclusivity and you own the IP. Dude, like PS3, this is how Sony has so many IPs, is because like in the PS2 through 3 days, certainly PlayStation 3, if they sign a game, they own the IP and it's like it's ours. That shit ain't going anywhere.
Right.
They'll sign a can of Bridge of Spirits and it's, you know, it's allowed to go here. We don't own it. And they'll do that with Stray, Chia, Bug Snacks, Silent Hill, all these marketing agreements and Final Fantasy, like all that shit. Like it's a different environment.
Maybe it's just because we had weird hardware back then too, and it was always interesting to see what a game focused on that cell processor or motion engine could do.
Yeah, I mean that stuff was always neat. That's what I liked about the old consoles.
Yeah,
is that they were still fairly exotic and target one system, and you get a lot of really cool, you know, things out of it.
The developers hated it though. Fair to now.
Yeah, PS2 is famously hated by a lot of developers just because of that.
Well,
PS3 more so. Well, that's the PC stuff. Suppose we'll just not have PC games anymore.
Are you gonna? Is that the worst news for you, Ryan? You're not gonna play on your Mac.
I had no dog in the race. I mean, that's the thing. We always just, at least from my perspective, I like to talk about these things from the business point of view. I had no dog in the race. You know, it made sense to me. I'm still actually surprised that they're backing away from it, but considering the revenue was so small, like if you're going to go back on it, like that also makes complete sense.
Let me grab some of these super chats that we had come in. Varang says, I'm trying to RNG a shiny Bulbasaur in Fire Red. Did you pick up Fire Red or Leaf Green, Ryan?
I don't really have time to play it right now.
And trying to hit 3 frame perfect button presses is difficult. I might do arbitrary code exe instead. Norfair says, did you guys watch Digital Foundry's deep dive on PS5 Pro Crimson Desert? Looks fantastic for the most part. Also GTA 4 online noose grind, Ryan.
How about we do noosing on Crimson Desert? Because since that game lets you do everything, we could probably noose on Crimson Desert.
That game looks crazy. Like I saw Digital Foundry's breakdown. It's still, I mean, I know it's the PS5 Pro they were showing off. I got to see what that base PS5 looks like.
This is a story we can cover it real quick, but yeah, base PS5 has a performance mode, 1080p, 60. Every mode has VSync, by the way. Ray tracing set to low, balance is upscaled 4K resolution, 40 FPS, ray tracing low, quality is upscaled 4K, 30 FPS, ray tracing set to high. That's base PS5. The Pro, which Digital Foundry put out their video today, the game does look insane, but they only played on Pro, and the game actually, the build they have is only using PSSR 1. So it does still have PSSR 1 artifacts, but Pearl Abyss says it's going to launch with PSSR 2. So it should have like that huge like Requiem style boost that we saw. And Pro has performance upscaled 4K, 60 FPS, balance is upscaled 4K from 1440p, 40 FPS, and then quality mode is 4K, 30 FPS, ray tracing set to ultra.
I think I'm going to get the game when it comes out next week. I might have to record some base PS5 footage and drop it on, like upload it just people can see what this thing looks like. I don't know. It looks crazy. The game does.
It looks unfucking believable. I'll be honest. It looks insane. Yeah, John's footage today, the game actually, it holds 60 pretty well.
They had to go in some like really weird spots with a lot of NPCs or enemies to hit the frame rate to like 30.
Yeah, it was like high 30s, I think is like the lowest he got it to, and the scene was like pretty hectic. But otherwise, that game looks nuts. Comes out next week too.
Toasty says, put some respect on Wally for PS2. It was made by the devs who made a Plague Tale and Microsoft Flight Sim, Asobo Studio.
That is a cool fact. I like that.
Bespoke came in with the 50 saying, I would love it if Sucker Punch could do that last Ronin TMNT game, which was announced like 5 years ago, and we've heard nothing since.
Well, thank you, Bespoke. Really appreciate that. That would be a good idea. I wouldn't mind that. I kind of like TMNT is a fun franchise. We need like a competent studio to really take that IP to the next level.
Yeah, what did happen to that game? Because I feel like the studio got hit with layoffs.
It's vaporware. They haven't said anything about that in how long, haven't they?
I thought they got hit with layoffs, the studio behind it, and so hopefully that game is still rolling.
I forgot it existed. As you read that, I'm like, oh yeah, that was a thing.
Toasty says, in the first Spawncast episode from 2017, John floated around the possibility of Horizon Zero Dawn on PC. Are you a prophet?
Did you really?
I didn't know that. I don't know. I didn't think if I could look. That's funny. I did not know that. That's funny. Yeah, that was.
See, John just throws shit at the wall to see what sticks.
Hey, sometimes that's how you got to do it. That's how you got to do it.
There you
Claw says Steam has conditioned PC gamers to wait for sales. The first game sold on the novelty, but generally games releasing a year later won't sell at $60. That's a good point too. The pricing did not help them when it's late.
That's fair. And like the pricing, bad ports, staggered release, it might just be like a sort of everything bad package kind of deal.
I still also think they weren't fully sold on the PC thing. Just the way that they moved with PC and like the delayed releases, the conditions sometimes they showed up in, picking and choosing when, I feel like if they moved Gran Turismo over, that would have all of a sudden become one of the most successful games on PC, like easily. But they just never really fully committed to it, I feel like. And maybe it came down to, we're either going all in on this thing or we're stepping away from it. And they said, let's step away for now. This is from Jaganshi. Says currently in Ecuador and visited some game stores. Used games basically don't exist here, and new games cost $90 to $100. I found 4 Super Nintendo classics new and special edition PlayStation 5 controllers cost $150. Crazy.
Oh my God, that's nuts. It's always interesting seeing what the gaming scene is like in countries like that. There's used games aren't a thing there at all. That's
I don't
know. Yeah, I don't know if that's bizarre, but I wouldn't have any idea what it's even like, It's fascinating. Got to get like a big supply of discs shipped out there.
Bespoke says, that's right. You have a cat in the race. I'm
not sure if Melissa's too into PC.
Check it out. Detective Seeds with the big 100 says, cheers, boys. Tried to gift members, but could not find the options. Wanted to send over some support. Have a great show. Hey, shout out to Detective Seeds coming in.
I appreciate it.
Good. Running getting the report out there. Then Jason Schreier came in and backed him up. So there you go.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like we got to be fair. Like that report, I was even skeptical about it, but actually did have a lot of information line up. So
yeah, fair.
Sometimes it happens, but hey, if you're listening, you got to stop putting out so much shit unless you're like fully confident to take my advice, dude. If you want to like clean up your reputation, like be much better well-sourced before you put out reports like that.
Well, they got that one. Shire came in a few days later. So shout out to Detective Seeds. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Oh, you did cover it too on your show, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, and that's a point to mention too. It's like, okay, well, I know people like were very upset with that first report, but it's like, if you go back, oh no, he got some of it. Yeah.
There you go.
Some people, I mean, they get a little stir crazy about that stuff.
Well, hey, there it is. Detective C's got it. They got that one. So Varang says, I don't think Game Freak realizes you or use glitches in Fire Red to get perfect IV shiny Pokemon. Do you think that's why home support is not enabled? They probably want to, I'm sure they want to get rid of any of the user exploits and patches and stuff before they enable home support. Yes, I'm sure you're onto something with that, Varang. Although I think home support gets updated later from probably because of that. Like I don't think ZA even has home support yet, if I'm not mistaken.
Wouldn't they just update home support to make like home would be the identifier, not the base game itself? So as you try to import Pokemon, home would reject things.
Yeah,
I think that's how that works.
Oh, I didn't even ask you, Ryan, real quick. Did you get Pocopia? Is your Pokemon over there with the?
No, I didn't.
Oh, really? Wow, I'm a little surprised.
Well, I mean, the first time they revealed that game, I'm like, this looks so cursed. What is going on here? But then it comes out, and I'm like, holy shit, this thing actually is very well received. So
it's actually
I don't know if I mean, I like games like that, no doubt. I could probably piss away a lot of time on it, but look, this audience needs me to finish Rebirth. I got to stick to Rebirth.
You do. I'm like 20 something hours in that game too, and now the kids took my Switch too, and they're playing.
Oh, you're never getting it back now.
Nah, I gotta somehow get it back. Yeah, that's over, man. That's over. It's over. So, yeah. All right. There you go. Look, Detective C said, yes, I am, before I would go on one person. And now I do make it a point to get 3 or more for accuracy. So I've tried to learn and get better at it.
That's good.
There we go.
It's good to see you improving. Yeah, no doubt. Keep it up.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Ryan will get Pocopia and he'll disappear and I won't see him again. So
you'll never see PlayStation coverage again because I'll be playing a weird ditto-ass game.
Dude, just the funniest thing about that game, dude, is it's a dark game. It's kind of crazy. That was something super depressing, dude. I had to build a habitat for Cubone, and you know what the habitat is?
Is it like dead mothers or something? Come on, man.
The habitat, you have to put 4 flower beds around a gravestone.
Ah, gee whiz.
Cubone shows up, and all Cubone does in my area is just sit there and stare at the gravestone.
Dude, that's awful.
Occasionally I walk by and he's like, I kind of want a toy. So I gave him some blocks, and now he just occasionally stares at the grave, and then he walks over and kicks the blocks over and then walks back.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God. I've seen like screenshots shared here and there. I'm like, I can't believe this game is actually like a thing.
It's actually pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, the whole game itself is crazy, you're right, but it's legitimately interesting, some of the stuff they do. So like, you're still trying to figure out where all the humans went. So
yeah, well, I don't think we should get them back. We kind of suck.
Some of them hate. Some of those Pokemon were like, man, I'm glad the humans are gone. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. One of them was like that, I'll say.
Oh, God. Indoctrinating the children. Get rid of the humans.
That's funny.
Get those Optimus bots going.
Right.
We have another big story to cover since we're covering up all the big ones here. This one is more recent, at least, so we can talk about this in a timely manner. Sony has been A/B testing pricing on the PlayStation Store. It's been noticed by some users that when you're not signed in, the game might be on sale, but then you sign into your PSN ID and the game goes up to full price. Well, recently we had a report from psprices.com, which tracks pricing data on PSN. They've confirmed that Sony has been running a large-scale A/B test on game prices. The discounts can be as high as 27.8%, and the experiment includes over 190 games in over 70 regions, including the US. This test has been running for 4 months. So since November 2025, which it grew from 50 games in 30 regions. So they're really ramping this up now. And PS Prices spotted backend language that specifically says IPT_pilot, which now includes SI's own AAA games like God of War, Spider-Man, and Helldivers 2. So I am seeing people call this dynamic pricing, just so we're like completely fair and transparent. Dynamic pricing isn't necessarily this. This is A/B testing, which means 2 specific price points, 2 pools of like buyers. Dynamic pricing is like a, sort of supply and demand thing where it could go like above MSRP. Basically, you're either at full MSRP or you get a discount. Right. Having said that, doesn't excuse anything. This fucking blows. This sucks.
But this is the situation with just the digital side, right? Is they can run these experiments a little harder in a retail store or when you have multiple retailers to pick from for a physical game. I almost expected when you have a big company like this who is trying to entice new buyers to build their digital library, since that's how they inevitably lock you in, is where do I have the most value and content on the digital side. But you're right. That is, it's not great when they go, we have a lot of market research on you and data, so we're going to decide which games are more expensive for you and which ones are cheaper. That's kind of it. Because think about going into a store and all of a sudden the prices change as you're walking around and looking at everything, and then they change again for the next person who walks around and looks at the shelves. I don't know. That's feels mildly predatory.
No, that's a great way that you put it. Like, you go to a store all the time, so like they know, like, oh, he's here all the time. He'll buy something. He gets full price. But this like new customer that shows up 1 or 2 times a year, they give them really aggressive prices to try and encourage some game sales. I would think that's what they're doing because they've got that telemetry to, like, it's got to be like highly engaged users are getting the higher prices.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
what?
Yes. If we're buying games all the time, they're like, we don't have to work that hard to get their business. We'll show them the full price. But this person has like 3 digital games and they purchased one thing from us in the last 12 months. So we're going to show them that same game for 75% off.
Yeah. Well, up to 27.8%.
27, but though we'll show them a quarter off, apparently, to get them involved here. It'd be $7.50 instead of $10.
Although PS prices, they had an article. I think it showed like one Assassin's Creed game was $10, but then if you like signed out, like it was like down to $3.90 something. So I guess the discounts are actually pretty steep.
That
sucks.
Yeah, I mean, if it's like that, well, that's unfortunate. That's the digital future people got to look forward to. A personalized pricing. We've heard of what, dynamic pricing? Is that what Nintendo said? Personalized pricing. That's the next step. Okay. And then eventually it's just all streaming. You don't know anything.
Sony has been doing this for about 2 years. If you remember, Astrobot went through the same thing. That was like more targeted like discounts. I think it was like either an email or like just straight up on your account, the game was cheaper for you. But they've definitely been attempting this for a while. This is just the largest sort of test they've been running, which they are also like legally allowed to do. If you want this shit to change, you have to have like local regulation step in and say, hey, stop doing that.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything illegal about what they're doing. It's just really annoying.
Yep. Because A/B testing has been like running rampant on a lot of like microtransaction like style games. Like I've seen a lot of reports of like well-known mobile games that it's, the sort of in-game currency will have different prices based on the user.
People have said it happens a lot at grocery stores too. And I get most of the same stuff at the grocery store. And I will tell you, man, every time I go to the grocery store, the price is different. And it's kind of weird for me because like I said, I get the same stuff. But people always mention that. They're like, hey, the prices will change quite a bit there. And it'll be dynamic between you and other people. And I'm like, really? Like you do the orders online for like Walmart or whatever, and you go pick them up. I've tried that a couple of times. The pricing's always different. At least for me, it is when I'm signed in or whatever. Man, the prices are never the same for eggs or anything like that.
Well, no, of course not.
Man, they always get me with that.
Well,
I know I'm there for to buy the eggs and stuff, and they're charging me full price for that.
And a somewhat related story, there's another class action against Sony in the UK. It's a £2 billion class action filed by the consumer campaigner Alex Neil, because Sony is being accused of holding a walled garden on their digital products because consumers, John, cannot buy digital games from third-party stores. Now, Sony, defending their business model, told the London's Competition Appeal Tribunal that third-party stores posed a security risk, and also they used their software sales to subsidize consoles. They're explaining like, oh, that's how our model works. So the legal team estimates that 12 million users could be eligible for £162 each unless they manually opt out. So they're automatically in. Does this sound familiar? Because they've been sued for this before.
I do look at this and wonder, because Apple and Google went through lawsuits that were similar to the walled garden verbiage, where they were being discussed as, man, they literally block everyone off from having their own payment processing with a store, and a lot of that's because you have two phone OSs that you really pick from. It's like you either go Android or you go Apple, right? I do wonder about Sony sometimes, this thing where they fly a little too close to the sun, because you used to be able to buy game cards in stores, right? And that was fine because you could find them sometimes cheaper, because you would go on some third-party site and they would sell the card, however they got it or whatever, but the gray market, they'd sell it cheaper. So there was an option. But now you just buy the currency cards and then everything goes through Sony. And you know what? It's funny. It almost is needed for Sony to keep physical games around, because I actually think there's an argument to be made that there is kind of like a the walled garden, sure, but it's not necessarily a monopoly, because there's Microsoft and Nintendo and stuff, but there is no other option for consumers to buy these games other than what Sony prices them at then.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's got to be it, because they stopped offering the game cards at retail, like I think 2019 or something.
Yeah,
It's been a long time.
It's been a while, yeah.
And if they still had those, like, I don't think like a class action would really work against them, because that was the whole point, is that you technically had different options. But I mean, I don't want to be the old man shouting at the lawn here, but that's why I vouch for physical media, as you're not beholden to a single storefront.
I feel like, okay, so I feel like Fortnite or Apple, I feel like they won their case, didn't they?
Well, I don't remember the exact details, but I mean, the thing about these companies is that they do have like some ground to stand on, because, well, at least for PlayStation's case, they can say we subsidize. Like, our main product we subsidize, like that's our model. And then they can also argue it's an industry standard based on like the cut and how the stores operate. Like, so but the thing too, John, like, even if they lose, I mean, I don't know, it's a class action. Like, who's really getting paid here? Like,
no, but I'm saying with Fortnite, they ended up, yeah. So Epic did win. I thought it was something like that, because I think with Google as well, there was a whole thing going around with the decision there. The point is, eventually, if a company like Epic tests it with Sony and says, we don't want to use your payment processor, we're going to go around you, and they kind of try to still. So one of the kids wanted to get like V-Bucks or something for their PlayStation account, and they were like, I'm going to go to the store and buy it. Well, you go to the store, you get the card, you got to go on to Epic's website, you then do the code there with your account, and they spit back a PlayStation code to you. Mm-hmm. So there is already kind of some funny business going on with that. But if there is a point where they go, we don't want to use your payment processing because you take 30%, like they did that with Apple, where they were trying to redirect people to a web browser, and Apple didn't like that, and they pulled Fortnite off of there. And then they took it to trial and they won, because the walled garden thing doesn't seem to hold up with that argument. I don't know, man. Sony might want to reconsider some of how they're approaching, because it could get to a point where what if they did lose and it got to the position where they had to let other storefronts on their system?
I think that would be amazing, but I think in PlayStation's case, they can say, like, we've subsidized our products, mm-hmm. which Apple most certainly doesn't do. You know, like, that's the issue. It's still dependent on the exact circumstance. Now, the Apple thing, yeah, like, because with Pokemon Go, you can buy coins off of Niantic's site directly, and you get bonus coins, because you're deliberately skipping Apple's. And in fact, that's like a pretty commonplace thing now. Anything that you buy through Apple, like, a lot of companies just like offer a discount if you do it through their processor.
Yeah, so that's going to be the thing. People already people already are annoyed with Epic and Fortnite as it is anyway. So, you know, people are looking at both companies like, I don't really know who to side with. But the point is, it comes back to the idea of the walled garden approach and how much that stands up, I guess, in the court of law. Well, here's the thing. I think the class action thing, you're right. People are going to get a check for $1.50 in 3 years or 4 years or something, you know. But I guess it comes down to, can that end up becoming precedent and rolling along to other cases, and it snowballs from there. It seems strange that Sony was like, nah, we're not selling these game cards anymore, because it starts to set something like this off. And I don't know, we hear about Microsoft and their next system trying to use Steam, and we don't have no idea how that's going to even work. And it'd be weird if PlayStation found themselves in a position where they had to let another storefront on, because then they can't subsidize the system anymore.
No, they would. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I'm not sure that Sony would. I think they'd be able to sort of argue around it. But in the case of the card thing, like, I don't know, they pay it and then move on. They still keep doing what they're doing. There has to be like a landmark case for them to change this. Like, class actions are just that.
Somebody from within would have to do it, like the Fortnite versus Apple, like Epic versus Apple. Something like that would have to happen to Sony.
Yeah. And this is just going to be Sony pays a big fee. They can do that. Lawyers get paid. And then people hopefully will get some sort of check, but it's almost always so small and not even remotely.
It's not worth the postage usually.
No. And this says people are eligible for 162 pounds each. That's a decent chunk of change, but I don't know. I mean, it's just like nothing changes after this. Oh, okay.
No.
And then you can only buy from the PS Store.
Yeah, they'll just pay it out and that'll be that.
Yep. All right. Well, we got a bunch of smaller stories we can now start to spitfire out here, John. I got a fun one for you here. We have a PlayStation Lego set coming. It's a rumor from the prominent Lego leaker, Lego_Minecraft_GOAT. They've revealed a product name and designator for a PS1 Lego set. It's product 72306, and it's a PS1 controller and console. 1,911 pieces for $160 USD coming out this December. That's a great gift for the kids, John.
Here's the question. So let's say I do get this, okay?
Okay.
And I'll let the kids build it and stuff. It's probably an 18+ one, so I'll probably help them build it. Okay. Sometimes they have little Easter eggs in these things, all right? I have the Game Boy, okay, and they have cartridges that came with it. And they're classic cartridges like Zelda and Mario. Makes sense. What's the PS1 game they should put in this that you build out of Legos that goes inside?
Ooh, well, they have to own it.
I was gonna say, I immediately I was like, Crash Bandicoot. I'm like, wait, they can't do that.
No. I don't know, Gran Turismo, maybe?
Can't do Spyro. Gran Turismo is what I thought too. I was like, maybe Gran Turismo. That might be it. It's kind of funny that we think about the ones you think about from the PS1 generation, Microsoft owns now.
Yeah, they can't do those.
Gran Turismo would probably be the one, but it would be cool if they could get Final Fantasy 7 disc 1, Final Fantasy 7.
Blasto.
Oh no, it'd be Ape Escape. No, because Ape Escape wouldn't work with that because they're not going to have the dual analog stick controller.
Blasto. Yeah.
See, he's right. Yeah, he's right. Yeah. Okay, there it is. Jumping Flash or Parappa?
What if they give you like multiple? They give you like 3 discs or something. So you could put there's a few options.
Okay, what do you got?
Well, maybe Parappa or Jumping Flash, but then it would be accompanied by like a Gran Turismo. And then possibly a Blasto or Disruptor or games that obviously would not show up on there. Motor Tune Grand Prix.
I'm going with the classic, the GOAT, the original disc 1 from Pizza Hut that had Tony Hawk Pro Skater and Ape Escape on it. I'm just going to drop that in there.
Well, they just do demo disc 1.
Demo disc 1. There it is.
Yeah. So
there it is.
Something like that. They can get really like obscure.
It's probably going to be a disc that has the PlayStation logo, some unnamed disc, and that'll be it.
Oh, that's boring. Come on. It's gotta be something neat.
Yeah, maybe it is Parappa the Rappa. Man, that's tough to think back on that generation and be like, they can't do Spyro or Crash, ones that people always think of back then. They can't do Metal Gear Solid.
I actually feel like Gran Turismo is probably the best.
It's probably option. Gran Turismo, yeah. It probably is that.
Well, there's that. All right. We talked about, Legends is available now. The game Ghost of Yote also got a power saver mode. Shout out there.
Good. I could save on the electric bill.
Save on that electric bill.
Ooh. Definitely not for a handheld coming up in the future.
Speaking of Yote, there was a really cool thing that we learned from GDC, a recent talk from Sucker Punch's Nate Fox and Jason Cannell. They revealed it during production of that game that they were attempting to do a rock climbing mechanic very similar to Breath of the Wild, where Nate Fox was playing those games, really loved it, said, you know what, every game should have this. This seems amazing. They started prototyping it, and then they figured out, oh, that's not really the game we're making.
Oh, well, that was kind of a criticism that came up for it, though, was that the climbing wasn't like Breath of the Wild. I saw that come up. So
yeah, well, like Breath of the Wild is always such a funny game to me because like it's highly successful and people love it dearly. But because of that, then comes this other issue of like, well, now it's just so popular and people put it on this pedestal. So now like, oh, every game should be like that. But it's like, well, you kind of have to design around that. And Yote is still like very deliberate with like it's an open world game, but it still silos players very specifically into like a squeeze sequence or like a wraparound cliffside. And so, I mean, you can't just let people go wherever they want in that game. You really have to like build around it,
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Breath of the Wild is the kind of one of those classic games. There's just a lot of talent that worked on Breath of the Wild. It's like top tier stuff in the industry that made that happen. So,
yeah,
and like the physics and everything else, it's not a game that gets replicated very often. So,
no. We have Ballistic Moon shut down officially. Yeah. Now, the brief recap here: Ballistic Moon is the UK-based studio that was spun up from former Supermassive staff that worked on Until Dawn originally, 2015 for PlayStation 4, and they remade the game. And then the game comes out, wasn't a great version of the game, had some issues on PS5 and PC, came out day and date on PC, but they were only able to do like 1 or 2 patches. I think they had very little runway to like keep working the game.
That's right.
Because Sony, I mean, they did publish it. It's a PlayStation Studios game. It's it's their IP, but it was a new studio. And then they immediately had some heavy layoffs, and they're dissolved. Dissolved as of February 2026. Apparently, the UK studio had a final Gazette notice issued. Can't say I'm shocked, but what a weird scenario. Because I feel like when that studio got spun up, it was kind of like there's a lot of upside here, when you have a new team formed like that, and it's the talent that got to work on the original IP, and PlayStation always cares about the talent, not necessarily acquiring studios for IP. It's like you could have fostered that into something, and oddly enough, it's like they're gone. The port did bad, and apparently Fire Sprite's doing Until Dawn stuff. So weird situation all around.
Never liked that remake. Never had a good feeling from it.
Didn't like it.
Didn't like it.
Yeah.
See, I could have saved PlayStation money. Scrap that thing at the whiteboard. I'd have cleaned it right off the whiteboard.
It made sense though too, like just to get them off the ground, because it's a new team.
Yeah, I guess for a new team, sure, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Until Dawn, was anyone like legitimately excited when they said they're doing a remake for it?
No, I'm probably not, but like, game goes to PC.
At least somewhat excited. I don't know. This is something exciting.
Well, I mean, there's the movie too. Like the movie came out. So
the movie was weird. Though people were saying the movie was weird.
it was weird. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a weird movie. I don't even think it was bad necessarily, but it just, I don't know.
I still haven't seen it. I don't know. People were telling me it's like, I mean, if it's around on a streaming service,
The problem with the movie, and I'm like slightly spoiling the whole concept, but the problem with the movie is that when the kids die, they come back. So the spirit of the game is in there, but when they come back, like a different thing is trying to kill them. There's like all sorts of different things killing them. And I think it would have been cool if you did the whole restarting thing, but the game's key villain is still like the main villain. But they put like a shitload of villains in it. It's weird. It's a weird movie. I don't know. That's what I would have did. That's why I'm not directing movies, John. We had that report. We do have some next-gen things we can mention. Obviously, there's a lot going on here as far as discussion is concerned. Well, very recently, Kepler L2 on NeoGAF, one of the few that's been pretty privy to the AMD roadmap. They were chiming in on a recent forum post that both consoles are still on track for holiday 2027. Somebody asked about the PS handheld. Kepler said, same thing. That should be still on track despite the 3 reports we've had so far, which were Bloomberg, Insider Gaming, and I think that one research firm from David Gibson, all pretty much saying a delay is considered or likely in that case. But you've also got people like Tom from Moore's Law is Dead, Kepler L2. They're saying things still coming. The other thing that we can't ignore here is that we have what was previously Sony's biggest competitor. They confirmed Project Helix. That's the code name. Full sending it. It's going to lead in performance, play PC and Xbox console games. And they just had a GDC talk about it. And they said development kits for Helix are going out next year.
Yep.
Which I don't know about you, but I mean, based on when the kits are going out, they didn't say when in 2027, just alpha versions are going out. So, like
the Xbox Series, those dev kits went out in the summer of 2020. And the system launched holiday 2020.
Right. So I don't even think that's really like a bad thing to hear about necessarily. At least on the PlayStation side of things, I believe first party either has them now, or they're going to get them very soon. And then, third party would probably be sometime later in the next year. But they might not even need a big runway for games because like there's going to be that cross-gen period where it's just a frame rate resolution bump. I think we're looking at a pretty big holiday 27. That's
Yeah, I think we're getting the new Xbox. I think we're getting the new PlayStation. And I think we're getting the PlayStation handheld all at once. Just one big shotgun blast of tech.
Well, we didn't know where the handheld was going. Remember, like I think Tom was inferring that it might not be that far behind. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you announce and launch both of them like that close together. That's over.
I don't know. Maybe that's their second SKU. It's like we got the console, we got the handheld. Pick.
Maybe.
Each one's $700. You have fun.
It could be very similar to the first PS5 reveal, where you get that crazy animation B-roll where builds up the music and then it sweeps around and there's the console, right? And then at first you're like, okay, that's PlayStation 6. Then it's more shots of like the console, but then they kind of like throw a curveball at you, and as they're panning out, then you see the handheld right next to it.
Kind of like they did that with for the PS5, right? Where we got the digital. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think if you're going to treat it as the same generation, you may as well launch them at the same time and present them at the same time.
So weird.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what you do.
Weird.
Well, I mean, it's two systems, but it's also catering to. I mean, you have the handheld market, and then you have the system. It's not the handheld, even though it would dock apparently, and it would put out video. It's not going to be on the level of the PS6 that's like full 160 watts and from the wall and ready to go. But there are going to be people, I'm sure, who are interested in that handheld and don't mind if it doesn't play as well as the PS6 when it's docked. I will say, I think right now, all things considered, I am more interested in the handheld just because I want to see what Sony pulls off with it.
I am too. I mean, the handheld does sound very appealing to me. Extremely appealing to me. Because as much as I enjoy my Portal, it still pisses me off to no end when I have latency issues. And I'm very sensitive to them. It irritates me when I can feel it.
Or if it slips a connection just for a second and you can see it like get real like low resolution, like it's like buffering on YouTube. That happens now and then when I'm playing a game. I'm like, that's right, it is streaming. But I also think the Portal could just be better with a upgraded wireless chip inside. And then maybe that's what we get for holiday 26. They do the OLED Portal. And then the following holiday, we get the launch of the new generation. And then the Portal, the OLED Portal, can play games streaming for the PS6 anyway.
My issue with the Portal is how do you not have some sort of like proprietary protocol for like in-home use? That makes them more like what? It still
maybe
has
the PS6 will have that.
But like it still has to be over my wireless connect. Come on, man.
Oh, maybe the PS6 will have it.
Stupid.
You want like the Wii U setup where like if you're within proximity of it, like you're in the same room, living room or something, and you don't want to play on the TV, you can jump. Yeah, okay, yeah.
It should be. Dude, it's the exact same connection from like an iPhone. Like there's nothing like you're buying a specific remote play device and there's nothing specific about how it does remote play. At times it's embarrassing when like the third party app PX Play, they just put out a big update. And
I saw that.
Before you could have always controlled the bit rate. You still can't do that on this thing. And now it's got 4K upscaling, 2K upscaling. Like it's just, I like the Portal, but like we also have to recognize it's just kind of a very half-assed way to do remote play.
Well, I mean, I think when they also designed it, they were kind of as a fun little experiment. The way that you can see how it's put together. It's the controller broken off with the screen in the middle. It doesn't try to hide it. Not like how we've seen with some of Sony's other handheld outings, but maybe the OLED Portal has some tricks up its sleeve. We'll see. But man, it's going to be an interesting holiday 27 because I will say before I was thinking maybe it is holiday 28 or they move. I don't know. A lot of things are lining up right now to where I kind of think Sony's going to go alongside Microsoft in that holiday.
Yeah, hey, was I not saying that the whole time?
Yeah, you were. Hey, you were. And I think right now, I mean, we're thinking about people are saying it's too soon. I'm like, well, that would still be more than a year and a half away from right now. So there's still a ways to go. It's not like it's happening in the next 7 months or something. No, it's like the next 20 months. I mean, I assume November.
I still wouldn't be opposed to like 2028. But like I think humoring 29 and 30s, like I think that's just insane to me. That's way too far away.
Well, here's the good news, though. If you're still set on a 2028 or 2029 time period for you to look into a PS6 and make that move, if it comes out in 27, then they're going to have like 2 years for people like me and Ryan to basically beta test the thing for you. And then maybe there'll even be a slim redesign of it 3 years afterwards, when you're thinking about it in 2030 or something.
But the thing is, John, have people recognized what happened with PlayStation 5 and sort of come to this realization of, based on the crazy market conditions, uncertain tariffs and pricing, all these like external factors, that maybe the play is, shit, I better buy a PS6 day one because that thing may get more expensive.
That's true.
And the internals of it, like they'll remove a shitload of copper, and you know what I mean? Like Gen 1 PlayStation 5s are pretty good. They were a pretty good sell. Buying a digital edition PS5 day one. Now, granted, I'm never going to really I wouldn't recommend a digital edition PS5, but $400.
That's true. Console. That's it. Yeah. It's what, $5 and $550 now.
The amount of copper in that thing would make a crackhead go nuts.
The heat sink is crazy in there. That's fair. That's a big heat sink.
Come on, son. That's a lot of copper.
All the copper.
Yeah.
So with the PS6, it seems like the big push is going to be for clearly resolution, but frame gen is being brought up. Ray tracing, it's significantly improved ray tracing. They're saying like 6 to 8 times better than, and I think right now people are saying I don't need ray tracing. Here's what's going to happen. Next gen for the PS6, it's just going to be default. You won't hear, oh, it's low ray tracing or high ray tracing. It's just going to be on, and that's it. All the games will probably be developed with ray tracing in mind, because it won't be free, quote unquote, but it won't be a hindrance like it is now on these games. And I think that'll be the biggest part. And frame gen will probably make it, depending on how latency feels, but it'll probably make it so 4K 120 can be a reality, on these, on your nicer TV. And I think that's quite interesting, because it's the way it's being described is more like, hey, you're just going to get better performance out of the PS6. It's not going to be, the games will look better, but 30 FPS will still exist. It's kind of like 60 might be closer to, with even frame gen, more the baseline now.
I mean, I think it'd be pretty neat if we do see, like, as always is the case, like a handful of games push the envelope for hardware. And I think it'd be cool to see like some path tracing stuff. Those games might actually be a little bit like, as far as frame timing, they might be like frame rate bound to 30 or 40 FPS games. I don't know. I think it'd still be cool. The other thing too, though, John, is that I still think it's also a great value proposition for any sort of like hardcore users to like buy that thing and know that you can like play stuff now. And there's a lot of like pro settings where it's got unlocked frame rates, dynamic res. If there's like a PSSR 3 system level toggle that would like retroactively apply to existing games,
that'd be cool.
Like, dude, like I almost look at Crimson Desert and think the play is to play that game on a PS6. Like hold off on it.
That's a fair point, with the idea that maybe PSSR gets to a position where with the, because the other thing the PS6 and the next Xbox are going to lean into are AI assisted tools, specifically for machine learning, neural networks. If it can get to a position where you, for example, you can still use a PS4 disc if you want, or something in your digital library, and all of a sudden it can reconstruct and upscale and move things around so that it's not shimmering like in Killzone. Where there's a bunch of shimmering, so it looks completely smooth and significantly better. I mean, that seems like a tall order, but it also kind of feels like that's the direction they're moving in, with Sony constantly talking about the idea of machine learning and direct access to the GPU, bypassing the CPU, and doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes just to make the games run better. So that's my hope, is that, for example, Bloodborne, it's stuck at 30. Doesn't have to be, though, even without their work to patch it. Could the game, like how we have FPS boost on Xbox for different games, could they have something that toggles on and off, and it's experimental maybe, but could make it so these games could actually push the limits of what they were originally capped at for the previous generations?
Well, I would love that. I mean, actually, we already kind of have a very soft version of like what you're describing with PS5 Pro's image quality thing for PS4 games. That filter only applies to like pre PS4 Pro games, and it genuinely does like sharpen lines on those games. Bloodborne was tested widely with that, and it does work. So I think there's a lot of upside to playing old games even on a PlayStation 6.
Yeah, I mean, we also have that PSSR 2.0 update coming sometime this month, and maybe that'll make that better. We'll see. But it's just, that's kind of the future, I think, for these consoles, and even on the PC side with AMD especially, and NVIDIA, but like a lot of machine learning, a lot of different upscaling techniques, FSR, DLSS, and more PSSR. So, but I'm curious what the sell is on Sony's side, other than just Mark Cerny explaining to us how it looks crisper.
I think that's the sales pitch. Part of the sales pitch is ray tracing, maybe a handful of showcase games if they do play with path tracing stuff, whatever sort of ML things are doing on the console. I mean, you still have to like pitch it for the user experience, right? So you show a radically different UI and whatever sort of things they're trying to do there. You do more sensory things like 3D audio and a new DualSense. And you still have to like there's still other elements of like the user experience that they can sell a PlayStation 6 on.
I think it's just that because people discuss this with the PS5 generation now. I think especially going to the PS6, coming up with ideas that can't be done on the PS5 but would be possible on the PS6 is just getting harder and harder, I feel like now. Like game concept, what's possible on the PS6 that isn't possible on the PS5. It's hard to figure that out.
I would agree, and the onus is on developers and PlayStation to figure that out.
Yeah.
But remember, we grew up in a time where frame rate was not even a thing. Like games, we had 60 FPS games, but it was not a marketable thing,
right? For
like 20 fucking years. And now it is like part of press releases. It's a very so what might seem very superficial is now a marketable item to people.
I will say I do notice though, Ryan, that a lot of like kids now just don't really seem to understand the idea of a game being on one platform and not the other. So I mentioned that they took the Switch 2 to play Pacopia. They took it because I have a PS5 upstairs for them to play on, but they can't seem to understand why Pacopia isn't on the PS5. They just have a hard time with that, like grasping at that. Like, I don't get it. Why isn't it on the PS5? So because it's mentioned about the idea of the newer generation. What's the Gen Alpha, I guess, I think is what it is. Yeah. And with them looking more and more at PC, and the idea of platform exclusivity and stuff not following along with them like it did for us growing up. And so, man, it's going to be interesting to see Sony pitch this PlayStation 6, because have you settled on a price for this thing?
For PS6?
Yeah, your initial guess on it.
I still, and people think I'm fucking nuts, but I think they want to try and hit 600.
Oh, dude, if they had 600 on that PlayStation 6, I'd be shocked. I mean, that'd be super impressive. Right now, the sales volume of Pro is still, one in every 4 to 5 consoles. It's very similar to PS4 Pro, to be honest. And that's $750 before a disk drive. Like I stand firm on this. Like I know people want to like shout out $800-900. That's just fucking crazy. No, it's just crazy. Dude, it's hot. They have economies of scale. Even if a $20 part means it goes up 200-300%, like, okay, like it hits their bottom line, you just suck it up and subsidize. It's what the company does. And if they want like mass adoption of this thing, you have to make it. It doesn't matter if Xbox is doing a $1,200 box and there's no competition. Screen time is so valuable nowadays. If it's the onus is on PlayStation to make a compelling, affordable product. I think they'll try to hit 600. I don't know if that's like the actual number, but I wouldn't go over 7. 600 no disk drive though, right? So it'd be like 680 for us.
Yeah, I mean, disk drive or not. I mean, I think the fair thing probably would be 600 no disk drive, and maybe there's a $700 SKU with the drive, because the thing is with the drive, like I would assume that component's so fucking cheap for them that's maybe the box they want to sell the most of. And it's very profitable at another $100 for it or something.
Yeah. See, my thing with that is I feel like it's 700s on the table, because I don't think they're going to stop selling the PS5. And there's just no indication for me that the PS5 is getting cheaper like anytime soon. So I feel like the $700 PS6 shows up no disk drive. The PS5 retains its like $550 price. Maybe if they get it to 500, maybe they can lower it. But I think that's what they really need to figure out right now is getting this PS5 cheaper towards the end of its lifespan, where they're going to keep trying to sell more of them. And maybe I will tell you this, if we get into 2027, I'll even say like that first half 2027, and the PS5 is $400 to $500, I might be on board with that $600. Like $400 for the digital to get back to it or something. I might look at that and go, okay, maybe they can get, maybe Ryan's on something. Maybe they can get 600.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the exact point, is that they have to address the current product lineup. And this is what they did with PS4 Pro. Like PS4 Pro was only manufactured for like 3 years and they stop it. Yep. So you stop Pro. You stop selling a Pro. So we only are going to have the PS5 Pro. If we assume 6 is holiday 27, they're only going to be selling a Pro for another year or so.
It's like a rare system.
You phase it out. So optically, you're not, doing weird pricing. You phase it out. And if they have room to make the existing console cheaper, you make sure to do that now, and you make that pitch. I mean, I think it's like suggesting anything above 700 is insane, but I've been wrong. Like the Pro is like way more than I thought it would be.
That's true. I didn't think the Pro would be as much as it turned out, because we also realized after we saw the price, we're like, oh, we need a disk drive for this thing too. That's right. So
the only thing about the Pro is that like it's a low volume machine. They probably want to make money off the box like right
They're
away.
not subsidizing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they're going to subsidize again, and I think they should, because they make plenty of goddamn money, I really hope this thing is not more than 650 to 700.
It's interesting. It's kind of a window into a console without the subsidizing effect. So it makes me think that, oh, wow, maybe the PS6 then, best case scenario would be, because remember the PS5 Pro was 7, it's going up to 750. Maybe it would have been 700, but they would do a subsidize, get it down to 600. That's like, man, that's kind of a window into that end of the product line where you go, ooh, that's getting pricey out here. Getting pricey.
And this is the thing with Helix. Dude, if that machine, which this was formerly the president of Xbox, Erebon, saying you can put other stores on this damn thing. If you're cannibalizing your own store, how are you making money?
They're
have
not
to make money on the
system.
You have to make money on the box. And that thing is beefy. What we're hearing about that machine, every console generation, you know this, John, every console generation, the power rumors, which is more power. These fucking things are usually pretty close to each other. Like, yeah, one's better than the other, but like they're usually pretty close. This should be conceivably a pretty big gap. Helix sounds pretty beefy.
Yeah, but I think I need to see how this Windows thing is going to turn out, because we know Windows can be kind of a resource hog now, especially. Because the word is float? Yeah, the word is you're going to be able to launch into like a Windows desktop environment on this thing, and you'll be able to also have mode. Yes, Xbox mode that apparently we're going to have on PC starting next month in April. People to try out. So it's going to be interesting to see, but I almost wonder if they're overshooting on some of the specs because, oh yeah, it's also going to be a Windows PC, so we don't want it to like chug basically if you decide to turn it into a little desktop. But you're right that the specs aren't exactly like they're jumping off the page. I will say that, but it's jumping off page in the sense of, ooh, that's not going to be cheap. I'm kind of thinking best case scenario is $1,000. I'm kind of thinking it's like $1,200.
That's where like the crazy numbers sound like more realistic than the ones I'm hearing for PS6. It does seem, because like the ROG is
it's 1,100.
That takes a lot of money, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, but like the ROG's principally sort of like what they've always been like getting to anyway, you know.
But that's where it comes into play of kind of the Nintendo mentality of when is it good enough? You know, when that price meets the performance we're looking for and it crosses over, it's like right there. That's it. And Nintendo shows up with their $450 system that seemed expensive then. We're talking about these numbers. It's like, oh man, maybe that wasn't that expensive. And that was kind of the idea. If they just stand still at 450, we'll see. But with Sony, they probably have a similar idea of, okay, we need this box to fit into, we'll say for you, $600. It's not going to be as powerful as Magnus, but it's still going to do 4K 120, and we can market it that way. And it's going to do ray tracing. That's basically it. It's like, when do we get to good enough to where the consumer who's going to buy it for FIFA or FC. I'll say FIFA, FC, or MLB The Show, or Madden, or Call of Duty. It's good enough for them. The PS5 is probably good enough for them, and they'll most likely stick with that for a while. But I think same logic applies to the PS6.
I would agree. Also, we've been talking about PSSR 2 like the whole time. I don't think we actually covered that as a separate story, but like that's official.
Hey, Resident Evil 9 looks good. It looks good.
Yeah.
I will say that. The ray tracing stuff is a little weird because they did like the reflections, and it looks like the mirror is always foggy. Like you just gotta say it's all foggy all the time.
Right.
And I think they turned that off, I think, in a patch. But the game itself looks clean. All right, it looks crisp, as Mark Cerny would say. But it was interesting because I think we mentioned that, didn't we? We said
Requiem looks like too good.
Yeah, it looks a little too good, and we think that they might be covering that, and they were. And then they were like, "Yeah, it's PSSR 2, our first instance." Played all the way through RE9. Great game. First playthrough. It says was 8.5 hours. I think the game's lying. I think it was more than that, but it was.
Everyone I've seen is saying that the game's lying to them about.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it counts cutscenes. I don't think it counts when you pause the game. I think there's some other things that doesn't count, but yeah, it came up 8.5 hours. I was like, that's it, really? It felt like it was longer than that for the entire playthrough, but that's fine. The game is very good. It looks great on the PS5 Pro. I will say that. Although I think it looks pretty good on all platforms it's on for what it's considered on. So I recommend the game completely. But what a good showcase game, by the way, for PSSR 2. Very good showcase game. It sold well.
The differences seem pretty dramatic to me on a Pro. The game looks gorgeous on a Pro. Yeah, so PSSR 2 next month, basically, more games, or this month, rather, I should say. Later this month, more games will be announced. We know Crimson Desert is going to be the second one next week, actually. And there's going to be a system level toggle relatively soon, and that's going to allow you to drop in PSSR 2 on PSSR 1 games. At least the way that Sony's describing it, it's if a game has PSSR, you can toggle that on PS5 Pro, and without developer intervention, the new algorithm kicks in for the existing PSSR games, which could be insane. That might fix like damn near all of them.
That'd be nice. I mean, I assume one of the games is going to do something weird, but if they get like a 95% success rate, that'll be great.
Yeah, that could be huge. So that should be later this month. Now, there's another big game rumor here, John, that we haven't gotten to just yet, which the cat's kind of out of the bag on this Cory Barlog game. So what started as a discovery on LinkedIn from a former Santa Monica employee quickly turned into the revelation of what Cory Barlog's game is. Nate the Hate, our friend, over on X, revealed the game is indeed in-universe God of War, and the lead character is Faye, who is Kratos' wife in the Norse era of games. And the game is said to have more of a focus on action combat, and the plan is to reveal it this year. Release first half of 2027, baby. We now know what's going on with this game. I did say it wasn't Atreus, and it wasn't Kratos, but I did say in-universe God of War.
Yeah, you did. Yep. They got scared when Kinetica was pitched to them, and they went, we'll play it safe with God of War. That's fine. Geez. That's fine.
Oh, geez, John.
Not sad at all. No, I mean, look, I get it. It's got God of War universe it prints money. I understand. This is interesting though, because here's my question: is this going to be called God of War in any way, shape, or form? Like God of War, and then something else with it, to say, Tales of Faye, or what, I don't know, whatever they want to call it, something like that. I don't know, because it's remember Jay Schreier said it's going to feel like a new game, but it's going to be in a universe of a previous one for them. So that signals to me like that it wouldn't be called God of War in some way, but I also understand that is such a powerful a name right now that it would only boost sales if they use the God of War name somewhere.
It's funny. I didn't really consider what they'd actually call it.
That was the first thing I was like, oh, what are they going to call that? That's interesting.
Well, because if you call it God of War, I think there's a very clear expectation of where's my angry dad.
Yep.
So if you don't call it God of War, I mean, it kind of technically is a new IP if you call it something else, like on paper copyright. So I don't know, but it's to me, I was just more like, oh, okay, this is a very interesting approach of like the pro tag, and it's weird the way that Nate described the combat. Like, oh, it's more of a focus on action, and it's like, well, these games are very action heavy. I think what people are coming to here is like it's more of a maybe a Bayonetta or a DMC. It's like maybe a bit more chaotic with like perhaps combos and like getting enemies in the air and stringing.
It makes sense
together.
with their backstory though.
Yeah, like so like that's the thing too. Faye is a character. It seems clear that Corey was probably planning this for a while as far as the Norse era and how Faye weaves into like just they were sprinkling so much of Faye's story throughout Ragnarok. Yeah. And so we know that she's got some epic fights in her like backstory, and I would think you're gonna see them now.
That could be pretty cool though. I mean, people talk about Thor, but there's some other ones too. It's I mean, yeah, that could I'm picturing in my mind God of War 3 crazy set pieces and stuff happening, but with Faye, and it's like, yeah, that could get kind of out of control. And I feel like there's enough backstory there that's still very much a mystery for her because she lived for a long time, to where they could play it up really well in a story. I don't know if they do a set point in time that they go through, or they time jump here and there, or what, but I mean, there's a lot of cool action stuff I think they could do here with Faye, and it would play in well to you mentioned like the Devil May Cry Bayonetta style. Actually, maybe going back a little bit to the older Greek saga God of War that people really like.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like the whole it feels like a new IP kind of thing. I think you go for a sort of 2018 where like it's a very different gameplay feel from what we expect out of Santa Monica.
Yeah.
So I think you carve out a different path of like this game's going to feel and even look different to what you typically expect.
I like it. I like different, with something like this. It's just we've jumped around, and we've had, for God of War, we've had 2 games in Norse Saga with the same kind of gameplay style and stuff over the shoulder. And not take a break from God of War. Obviously, we're getting more God of War right now than we have in a while, because we just had the Sons of Sparta game, right, that you were playing through. We had Ragnarok for that 2018, and now we're going to have a game seemingly based around Faye for next year, and we're going to see it this summer.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. Like, this game is not far away at all.
No.
Like, we'll see it, and it's going to launch. First half of 2027. Dude, we're basically like a year. Yep. A year from possibly playing it. So, here's my only caveat. Like, and I was saying this a while about Santa Monica. I was genuinely excited of like something new from them. And this isn't new. It is new, but it's not, Like I always say this about Santa Monica. They did John Connecticut, and then God of War. So it's like, I'm a little bummed it's still in universe God of War. But I also like, it's still like fun to think that they're trying something very new and different. It's not like I hate God of War. I love the property, so I will see more stories in this universe. But it was always very exciting to me thinking this was like an entirely new property.
It might be time to come to terms that they are just the God of War studio.
They are Polyphony Digital, but for Kratos.
I mean, it works. It's safe. It makes money. That's just it. Sony Santa Monica is the God of War studio. That's the way it goes.
That's fine. It's a big property. I mean, that's like some studios can stick to one thing, and that might be fine for them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they can kind of play around with ideas, as you mentioned, like this, still in the universe, but make it almost feel like a new kind of game.
Yeah. I think that's what they do, is just be a little bit bold. And this like, at least financially speaking, this is a great way to mitigate risk. Like it feels like a new thing, but like you're still selling it on the basis of no, you get to see Kratos in this game. Oh, and there's like this Thor fight, and we're going to show you that in the trailers. And I think there's still a way to, on paper, sell this, which they kind of have to do if these games cost as much as they cost to make.
They do cost a lot.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
I'm looking forward to just seeing exactly what they have then with Faye. That could be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. What else we got going on here? Oh, we missed this. You see that new DualSense that they're selling now? It's not a new DualSense, but the box says PC ready.
Yeah, that great timing. Great timing on that. Yeah. Man.
Big report how they're pulling away from single player PC games. It's on Best Buy right now. You can buy a DualSense with big blue letters saying PC ready, and it comes with a USB-C cable.
Yeah, that's the big sell. Comes with a cable now. That's just the marketing department, and I guess everything else is getting kind of out of sync. Although, if Jay Strider didn't run that report, we still wouldn't know.
That's true. That's true. But that is the difference. This DualSense comes with a cable. So if you're in the market for a black controller, like, get that one.
I need to know. Okay, you would know this, Ryan. Back in the day for the DualShock 3, did it come with the cable?
Yeah,
it did. Okay, I thought I was going crazy. I was like, I feel like it did come with a cable at one point, and they just stopped giving us a cable.
They might have stopped them with that late revision where it started using the PS4 box form factor, because there's like various versions. I think I've got them even those PS2 ones right there. Those went into the PlayStation 3 cycle, and they've had different color changes before they did the flat black and gray. Then they were like red around 2009, and they put the USB-C cable or the USB mini USB-C behind it. I might be fucking lying. Did they come with cables? Dude, I'm not.
Oh,
now, hold on.
Guess himself. Uh-oh. Oh, no. He's second guessing himself. I have several PlayStation 3 controllers and PS4 controllers. I've never really thought about it much when it came to the cables until I saw that pop up, because the big sell was the cable.
Wait,
coming with the
hold on. Controller. All right, so DualShock 3 right here in box. This is a launch PS3 controller, DualShock 3. You would open it. There's plenty of room back there, but it's open, so I don't remember if I put it back there. But then this is the late life cycle version with PlayStation 4. So DualShock 4s would have this packaging. Now DualShock 3 is in here as well. This one is new, not fully new. I did open it before, but I don't think this came with a cable. It doesn't say anything on there about it. Because like there is plenty of room for it. Somebody in the chat's got to correct me. My mind's escaping me, dude.
You need to buy.
My memory's been.
You're going to buy a brand new sealed DualShock 3 on eBay now to settle it.
I have some, but I'm not going to open them.
Well, you have to open one now.
Absolutely not.
You have to open it now. You have no choice. I
don't think they did, dude.
I've got to think if they didn't either.
I might be gaslighting myself.
Oh, man.
This is also the company that didn't give you an HDMI cable for 7 fucking years.
Oh, that's right. You got the AV cables.
I don't think maybe they didn't.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't think they did.
I don't remember it ever came with the
Yeah, I started talking about that so confidently too.
Came with a short cable.
That I think is true. Yes. I started talking about that so confidently, then I'm like, wait a minute, I am wrong. Well, I have them though. I have some here to show.
Yeah, I'm seeing one sealed right now, and I don't see a cable in there at all. I'm looking at it on eBay.
Damn.
$130, by the way, for a sealed DualShock 3 right now.
Yeah, they're like, you're gonna pay like for like a sealed new one, OEM. There's a lot of fakes out there.
This one's a real one. This is a real one.
Yeah, if it's a real one, they're usually $100.
Metallic blue, it's $220. Whew. Sealed. That's a nice little controller.
I could sell this for this is metallic blue.
That's not in that packaging, it's in the original packaging.
Wait, but did metallic blue come in this packaging?
It says rare in all caps. Okay, and the people on eBay wouldn't lie. It says right here, rare DualShock 3 controller, metallic blue, new sealed. And it's in that package, the other packaging you have for the black controller. Clear plastic.
PlayStation 3 system software requires version 1.94 or later.
All right. Then.
And this is when the legal copy was PlayStation 3 in capital letters.
This is
so they were always yelling at you, PlayStation 3. Okay.
I have a ton of PlayStation 3 controllers, and half of them are fake. That's just how it is.
Oh,
there's so many.
That's
I have like 12 controllers for some reason.
I've got a lot too.
Yeah, I don't know why I have so many of them. It's because whenever I ordered a PS3 for like doing a video with like a junk one, they always threw a controller in there, and half the time it was one that had a little P3 button.
Okay, so yeah, 100%. I've had so many of those too from videos. I don't even know what to do with them. I just throw them out.
Yeah,
They either don't work, don't hold a charge, or they feel like shit.
They're junk.
Yeah, they're junk. We have some other third-party news stories to cover real quick, some smaller ones. I say smaller, this is actually big. GTA 6 title IDs are now on PSN. Spotted by the PlayStation Size X account. And that just means that the game has a populated ID on PSN. That's like the executable. But it's kind of like an ESRB rating. Like that just means the game's real. It doesn't.
Yeah.
We have no idea when it's coming.
Getting there. I'm still thinking May for the next trailer. May.
May would be good. That'd be a good birthday present for me.
There you go. Setting up, I feel like, for their big summer push with marketing.
Yes. Go with that. We had kind of like a leak. There's a Starfield press thing going on. That's going to get revealed soon. PS5 version. Just a little shout out there. We had a report from Bilbo Kuhn. This is like so old now, but they're saying the game's still coming out April 7th on PlayStation 5. It will have a $50 price tag. Just a little FYI for anybody out there looking to potentially jump into that game. Ubisoft confirmed the Assassin's Creed 4 remaster. That's real. Black Flag Resynced in a blog post. Yep.
And we've heard about that game so much. I'm ready for that to come out already.
Yeah, but this was the kind of announcement where it's like, here it is. Stop the rumors. Yeah. Basically. I think it's still far away. We had some stuff going on for Fallout remasters. Initially, this was like a mix-up. People thought Iron Galaxy was making it because they had a post on LinkedIn which showed like their office with the please stand by images on their like desktops. Iron Galaxy had to come out and say we just like use those. We're not making the game or anything. And then over on Reddit, on the Fallout subreddit, people noticed that McFarlane Toys, the manufacturer, has like toys listed that say Fallout 3 Remastered on there. So maybe they have some merchandising ready to go for this game. I don't know. I don't think it's coming out soon, though.
No, I don't think so either. I feel like we're still a ways off of this.
Yeah, I think it's very, very early to be hearing about it, but there was that. And then Highgard actually shut down today. It's dead.
Well,
yeah. Wildlight Entertainment confirms the game is going offline March 12th. That's today. 46 days after the game came out, the game had 2 million players, but they were not able to build a sustainable player base to support the game long term. I did want to say this, John. Really cool stuff. Chad Grenier, the studio head and game director, every so often they'll come out and like share this stuff with us. He provided some of these stats on his personal X account, and he reminded us that Steam CCUs are never the full story. Now, obviously, the game was super dead, so this doesn't change anything. But he did reveal that PS5 was the biggest player base by 2 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was 2 times bigger than Steam. Then Xbox. Steam was last. That's surprising to me.
That is interesting that's the case, because that still had like 100,000 peak play. At one point, it was almost 100,000 concurrents. I mean, it's a free-to-play game, so I'm sure there's plenty of people who downloaded it, bounced off of it immediately after one match and uninstalled it. But I don't know. That's interesting that was more of a console game than a PC game.
Yeah. I mean, the game obviously still did bad, so it's still shut down. But I believe the people that worked on Solar Crown Test Drive Unlimited, they said this too. Like, PS5 is our biggest player base. Like, so it's not always the best metric to look at. Basically, if you're looking at Steam CCUs, the only judgment call you can really make is a game really successful or is it straight up dead? The middle ground is where, like, you can't say for certain if something's doing like super terrible or not.
No, it's just it's the one metric that's pretty transparent, and it's the one metric that usually gets pointed to constantly because of it. So
yeah. Yep. And then going into PS Productions news, some updates going on there. We have some God of War Amazon casting choices confirmed. Modi's played by Louise Cunningham. Maggie's played by Ben Chappell. Thrud is played by Island Austin. And Ganaz played by Evelyn Miller.
We talked about that image, didn't we?
Did that come out after ClickArt? I think it did, didn't it?
You're the one who brought up the Amazon Productions. I was going to let it slide because that was a sad image.
Well, it's so whenever we do Click R3, I have to like double check like what did I talk about on LTPS and what did I talk about here, and like what's the crossover of what was covered and not covered. I think we missed the still on here. Yeah, the image came out too. I don't know if you want to like pull it up, John, but
I bet you I can find it.
it doesn't look great. It doesn't look great. I'll say that.
I think I think because they released that, they did a press release for it and everything. And I was like, really? Doing a press release for this?
Yeah, it dropped on Friday. Yeah, we missed that. Yeah, like 3 things came out after Click R3 last episode, which is annoying. But that image, that image is weird.
There we go. I got it.
It's like very clearly like a photo shoot. Like they're not filming it yet. Like they're not doing principal photography yet.
There it is.
It's just like a photo shoot thing, so it just doesn't show well. Like you can see Ryan Hurst's bald cap.
He said, okay, so I'm confused about what he said. He went, don't believe everything you see on the internet.
What does that mean? Like I
don't know. This is from Amazon. Amazon released it.
Yeah.
Is it AI generated or something? I mean, I don't know. How are you supposed to take that?
I'll be the first to say, like, this isn't going to be, I don't think this is fully representative of the show. It should go without, it should go without saying. When you see it in motion and then there's post-production and all that stuff, and it'll surely look better than this. But like when people describe this as, like a cosplay photo shoot, I'm like, yeah. I mean, and that's, I don't even want to insult that because I've seen cosplay like God of War setups that are like way better than this.
For Kratos, especially, like you've seen Kratos, and there are times where he's like, wow, that person really went all out with it. This does not look like that.
I'm like, I saw people mention his posture too. I'm like, okay, like I guess if he like stands and looks more assertive, that would maybe have more of a Kratos.
Like arms crossed, like standing up straight, looking across like the. Yeah.
But I've seen people call Atreus looks like Hasbulla, and that's mean.
He looks a little younger than I was expecting Atreus to look here.
Well, it would make sense to get him as young as possible, right? Because these kids are going to grow up on the show. He's going to
grow up during the show. Yeah, that's fair. That's true.
Because the casting decision for Thrud looks really young.
Yeah, we don't need a Stranger Things situation. The cast just old at the end of it. So this wasn't a good. This also concerns me a bit because everyone looked at this and said, this isn't a great image. Like, would you have released this image if you were in charge of marketing?
No, but I think I like have more of a qualitative look at these things versus maybe a marketing person.
But
is the marketing person a God of War fan? Because I think a God of War fan would be like, ooh, don't put that out.
This is what I mean, though, because this is Amazon put this out, right? So they're doing a lot of the production as well with them and marketing. And it's like, this isn't a great start, I should say, for the show and kind of the vibe I'm getting from, I don't say their knowledge of it, but this just doesn't look very good. I don't know why you would greenlight it. I mean, like, could you take another shot? Could you I don't know, do something, anything, not release it? Was anyone like, man, we got to see that God of War shot Friday? It's like, no one was thinking that at all. They're still announcing casting.
Yeah, we still don't have Freya. Freya's not even picked, I think.
They could have just done nothing and it would have been better.
Unless that just comes out because we're recording Click R3. So
right, it'll come out tomorrow. And then they'll release a trailer for some reason that looks bad or something. I don't know. Like it's just, they could have just not done anything. They could have just kept going, just kept moving. And
they could have not done anything.
I mean, what would have been better, releasing this image or doing nothing on Friday?
Probably nothing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm still excited for it. It's just not a flattering image. That's it.
It's not.
Yeah. Okay, Joe, John. Okay, whoa, settle down there.
Yeah, I don't know.
See, like I think like the costumes are good. I actually don't mind Ryan Hurst's Kratos at all. It's just holistically the image is off. I think in motion with post production it should clean up.
I hope so. I mean, we're still a ways off from this thing coming out, but
yeah,
not the best start for that.
No.
People were like, immediately, you should have done animated, like right away.
I don't get the anime. No, anime God of War.
No,
This is like the one. This is like the one show where like a live action makes so much sense. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know, but I think the sort of carnage and set pieces you can do with God of War and like real blood, and I don't know. I would not think anime for God of War.
Okay. Well, I still got a ways off from that, so
yeah.
We'll see.
Okay. Well, with that covered, we did miss this hardware news. My show notes are all out of whack today. We had the well-known hacker and modder, Andy Nguyen, or known as The Flow, posted something pretty cool on their personal account. They were able to get Linux installed on a PlayStation 5, turning it into a Steam machine, as they call it, running GTA 5 enhanced with ray tracing. Naturally, this is only possible on older firmwares, but he did say that they were able to get full access to all the USBs, HDMI, and audio, and he got the system running at 3.2 gigahertz on the CPU, 2 gigahertz on the GPU.
I mean, it's impressive. But have you seen that? So it's running on Linux there, and I apparently need a really low firmware PS5 to make it happen. For now, I mean, who knows as we go through the PS5 generation, then even beyond it when it's legacy. Yeah, I'm sure all kinds of stuff will pop up to where we can run Linux like this on later firmwares. But there is that it's the all-in-one board. I'm sure you've seen this floating around, like the B350 or something. And I feel like it was a mining or server rack board, but it used one of the PlayStation 5 chips, and people have been buying them online and repurposing them and loading Linux and SteamOS, and they're doing similar things like this, which is really interesting how people have been able to do it. And it actually gets pretty good performance. Like, you can make a little budget PC out of it, and it runs things like Spider-Man, GTA 5 and stuff, no problem, actually.
Yeah, it's cool. I always like seeing shit like that.
Yeah.
In this case, oh no, go ahead.
I would say I'd just like to see a way to do this without needing a PlayStation 5 from 2021.
Yeah, I would think the firmware on this has to be really low, because Andy does the bug bounties for PlayStation. So he'll like disclose these, and then he never talks about them until well after. So like it was probably disclosed, fixed up years ago, and it took him until now to be able to say it, if I had to guess.
Yep.
It would be like most people probably can't do this because they don't have a PS5 laying around that's old. But it's still neat to see. Did you see this update, John? There was an update on the Abandoned game. Remember back in 2021?
Oh, gosh.
Remember that whole debacle?
This game again. It won't go away.
Did you see it, though? Did you see what's happening here?
People are laughing about it. I didn't look completely into it. Fill me in, Ryan.
He's playing. Okay. Well, the recap, John, of course, 2021. Gosh. PlayStation blog announces a new game called Abandoned by Blue Box Game Studios.
Might be Kojima guys.
Unknown studio. Well, I mean, naturally, people thought, well, what's going on here? Is this Moby Dick? Is this 989 Studios? Is this Kojima? We found out much later, after a lot of speculation and borderline conspiracy theories, that it was just like a singular guy who was like really feeding into it. So yeah, it was vaporware. They put out a playable teaser on the console too, and it's like this in-engine footage of a guy, like someone walking over a piece of wood, like that. Yeah. I still have it installed on my PS5. So that happened years ago. People noticed that, and the guy's name is Hassan Karaman. Somebody on Reset Air was friends with him, and they noticed that his PSN ID was playing a new game called Abandoned Gospels of Blood.
Oh, gosh.
Ooh, spooky. I don't know if this game will ever come out. Probably won't, but I thought that was funny.
The Abandoned thing, what an interesting event in gaming that will never be replicated again.
Dude, even I thought back then, like, what is this game, man? It was weird,
But think about all the examples. We've had examples since then of Sony just doing weird stuff on their YouTube channel and marketing. Like we talked about, what was the game we just talked about with the zombies and
Ebola Village?
Yeah, like you think about that and you go, okay, now Abandoned makes a little more sense how that one got through.
Well, that's like, it's not hard necessarily to get on the PlayStation blog, but like when that happens, typically like, oh, it's this studio, it's this game, like So to have an unknown developer, and this was 2021, so being labeled as a PS5 exclusive when there was very few, I can see why it like got to what it got to, but then we found out it was
think there is like a want or a hunger for a fourth wall breaking marketing campaign like that. And I think it'd be kind of interesting if especially now, it's hard now because of social media and the communication, how fast information travels. I would like to see, I'd say, a well-known developer or studio or some attempt something like what happened with Abandoned, but it actually turns into, you know, a new game or some cool reveal. I think that would be fun to have kind of the scavenger hunt treasure map thing going on online. And it's just a fun series of events and riddles and stuff that leads up to a grand reveal. I think it'd be fun to see that happen again. And I don't think I'm alone, because look at how much interest that Abandoned thing got, because people try to convince themselves that Kojima was making a game.
Right. No, I agree. I think it'd be cool. I was probably one of the, like, the 2 times Kojima did it. I'm more fond of like the whole PT thing. It's just a really fun thing that happened and how it played out. Ironically, Wildlight Entertainment could have did that with Highgard. That game was a secret till the TGAs.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine if that had a buildup of like a year and then here, you know, the outcomes Highgard and it looks like his live service. Oh dude, it would have been ugly. That'd have been bad.
That fits what you're saying, like a known entity in the games business kind of doing their own thing and like,
no, I get that. Yeah.
Being quiet about it. Could have been Highgard.
But let's say like Capcom starts doing all this stuff, all these interesting messages and things they're putting out. But you don't really put it together that it's Capcom until close to reveal. And then people are like, oh, it's a Capcom thing. And then they get to the event and it's like Devil May Cry 6 or something like that. Like that would be kind of cool, right? Or Kojima and his build up to Fizzant. We don't know that he's doing a Fizzant game. And he starts doing all these weird, like he sets up websites that you can go across and find, and it's kind of setting up the backstory for it and its whole mystery. And then eventually we find out that Fizzant's like a new IP from Kojima, and it's this brand new Metal Gear Solid like game.
I think it would be really cool. Unfortunately, what we got was Herman Hull standing next to Hideo Kojima announcing.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, that'd have been so interesting if that's the way Kojima went with. I mean, it's a lot of time, and I mean, you got to really think about how you're going to pull it off. But legendary stuff if it works.
Well, we had a few more stories to cover, and then we can get into some of our chats and PSX. So real quick, KOTOR remake still in development. That's the Old Republic.
Yep.
Recent interview with IGN, Chief Creative Officer at Saber Interactive,
still
Tim
Saber,
Willits. Yeah, he said yes, game's still in development. That's all they can say. I think that's them saying, sure, we want to make it, but this shit has it's got problems. Basically.
Apparently they're remaking the second one too. They're making the first and second one right now.
Well, if people can recall, Sony had a timed exclusivity agreement, and we were hearing that they backed out of that because that's when the game changed hands too. So I think they're not even touching that game now. EA layoffs, unfortunate. IGN learned that EA is doing layoffs across their Battlefield teams. That's Criterion, DICE, Ripple Effect, and Motive Studios. After Battlefield 6 being incredibly successful, so
didn't matter. Really, get them out of here. Apparently,
jeez. really rough year for games. Jeez, I can't even speak. 2024 was the peak of job loss in games. Then it went down a little bit last year, and this year we're still seeing it happen. So this industry is like crazy.
That's the thing, because there were estimates that Battlefield 6 sold 15 to 20 million copies or something. It beat Call of Duty.
I don't know.
Crazy, man. That's insane. Yep. It used to be you make the game and then you move on, you make the next game. And they're trying to keep this thing they're turning into live service. And I guess that means in their mind, we have to lay people off over here and I guess bring people in over here. This endless cycle. I don't know. It's just, EA's hard to read now because also they don't have to disclose like they did before since they're like private company. So I don't know. Not very. It doesn't bode well for the industry when Battlefield 6 crushes it, and then you still hear about a bunch of layoffs from all the studios that some of them put things on hold, like Need for Speed. Not that Need for Speed was killing or anything, but they had to put that on hold because they had to come help get Battlefield 6 out the door, and people still get laid off. It's like, well,
yeah,
there you go.
Good job. Here's your severance package.
Basically, yeah.
Resident Evil Requiem is getting story DLC. That was confirmed in a social media post with director Koshi Nakanishi. So they've got DLC in development, game's getting a photo mode. Also, a mini game is being added around May, and they're continuing support for the game, which it's been doing well.
5 million copies already.
Very well received RE Requiem game. I'm thinking this thing's not getting PSVR 2 support.
That's kind of a shame because this has PSSR 2, and I'd be curious to see PSSR 2 in PSVR 2. But
yeah. I mean, it'd be a nice looking game.
It's a really good looking game. So that's one of those cases where I don't break out the VR headset often, but that might be one of them, just to see.
That'd be one of them.
Dust it off. Let's take a look.
Capcom's not the only publisher doing well. We have Konami confirming some big numbers for Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, 2 million copies worldwide, and Silent Hill 2 reached 5 million players via sales and subscription services.
There you go.
And we've firmly established, John, that Konami's back.
Yeah, I would say so. Just everything they're doing right now. I think they've treated Silent Hill well also. So that was the franchise that they really needed to build up, because people tend to forget that Silent Hill wasn't a massive seller in its time. So it's good to see. I mean, good. I'm glad that Konami is doing this rather than making pachinko machines every quarter.
Now we get Silent Hill Townfall and
Castlevania coming up.
Castlevania, MGS1. Come on now.
Oh yeah, they got to remake that one. They do.
Come on now.
Got the new collection coming up though with 4, so I'm excited for that.
True. And then Gang of Dragon lost its funding. So NetEase backed out of this title, which Gang of Dragon's the spiritual successor to Yakuza. Gang of Dragon from Toshihiro Nagoshi. Bloomberg reported that employees were told on Friday that checks are going to stop clearing in May. So they've got a small window here to try and find a partner. But according to one source, the game needs $44 million to get over the finish line. That's a lot of money.
So this is one of those situations where the person who's involved with this. This is a spiritual successor to their previous franchise they created, Yakuza. So that might be worth it if you're a Sony or if you're like a Take-Two. I mean, EA just went private, so I don't know how much capital they have to throw around right now necessarily as they get everything ironed out and figured out. This kind of feels like a game that it's worth taking a flyer out on just to see.
Dude, I don't. This is a lot of capital.
It is. It is.
A ton of. I mean, it's not 9 figures, but sheesh. This game's got to hit some good numbers to make that money back.
No, yeah, it would. But this is, I don't know. This is one of the situations where I'd be like, it's almost off reputation alone. I mean, they showed the game, which is funny. They showed the game, and now maybe it doesn't come out. But take a swing at some game. I mean, they've taken a swing at some crazy games like Concord and stuff. If you're going to take those kind of swings, this seems like one you should at least try. Although it's not my money, so I know.
Well, we'll see if they've got time to find somebody. I just don't know who's going to step in.
I mean, you think of the obvious ones being a Sony, a Microsoft. It'd be really funny if it was Nintendo. I don't think it's Nintendo. So then you go from there and you look at other publishers, third parties that might come in, like a Take-Two or something. But I kind of feel like somebody is going to come in just based off Negoshi's name alone and be like, all right, let's see what you got.
Well, we'll see.
Tencent.
Well, they stopped funding Highgard, so I suppose they've got money. Is there anything I'm missing, John? My show notes are like across 3 different notepads here. I think we're caught up on some decent big stuff here. Yeah.
You got the exclusive strategy flipping and the track PS6 on track for 2027. Those are the main topics. You got them.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're good.
Let's see. This is from Bespoke. It says Ryan is definitely getting that 27.8% off for GTA 6.
I hope so. For my physical copy.
Toasty says, John, have your kids played Stellar Blade? They have not. Nope, not at all.
Okay.
Darthus says, when Fair Games eventually comes out and shut down, I want their tweet to start with, okay, guys, you got us. Fair game. I'm sorry, I love the show. Who knows with fair games, man? That game might be gone, and we don't know it yet. Like we'll find out months after it's gone,
and we don't know about it yet. That's brutal.
I kind of feel like that's going to be the situation where we find out that it's shut down when we read on LinkedIn that people are like, "Yeah, I'm not at fair game. I'm not at Haven anymore."
Oh God.
I kind of feel like that's how we're going to learn. Claw says, Ryan, do you know if Sony's done anything to get its dev costs down? Yote's budget was reasonable, I think, but that's just one so far.
I mean, the organization's probably looking at everything they can reasonably do. Unfortunately, I think you look at something like the Bluepoint scenario, and that's what you start to realize. They cut projects when they have to. That's those live service cancellations. That labor is expensive in Austin, Texas. I mean, we're kind of seeing it. I think more pertinently, it's a matter of getting the games out a little bit faster, because that in turn is like the amount of labor you're spending to get those games out.
I'm going to assume Bespoke that's Spider-Man 3 will definitely be path traced. I can also see Horizon 3 getting path tracing, and the pack-in games Astro Bros, Astro Kart, Astro Party. Hashtag no shame. Yeah, an Astro Party game would actually be kind of cool. I'd be all right with
that. So party or a kart racer? Because I want a kart racer.
Astro Party. I think that'd be kind of funny. Because you could do all the different characters, the Astro themed characters that are dressed up from PlayStation history and stuff, and it's like a little Mario Party Astrobot game. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, that'd be neat. I'd like that.
Bespoke says PS6 $299. Seriously, I think $499. Well, that
would be
very, very
mind blowing. That'd be mind blowing if it was
maybe that really cheaper one, the other one that was being floated that's using the chip from it's like a little PS TV thing.
Oh, I don't even think they're doing that.
Claw says, Sony just give us a dongle that supports DualSense features wirelessly. If you want a PC ready controller, you even did it with DualShock 4s.
Well, they got the link adapters, but that's that's the PS Link wireless protocol, so it could in theory.
All right, Ryan, what do you got for PSX? Go and give it to you.
Oh God, I didn't even have one picked yet, John.
Oh,
I'm so underprepared. PSX, gonna give it to you. This is the topic of the show where we go over something cool, old, nostalgic, or interesting about PlayStation history. Teach the kiddos something they didn't know about PlayStation. What are we doing here? Well, we just whipped out some DualShock 3s earlier. Let's talk about the 6-axis, because I have one here where, very cool fact, right? Because 6-axis early on, no rumble, but the whole idea was 6-axis motion, right? You get those motion controls, so you can be flinging the controller around and shit like that. So the story here is that just a few weeks before E3 2006, Sony told Shuhei Yoshida that the controller was going to have this. Weeks before a big presentation where you have to have demos ready to go. And so he would have to get games ready in time for that, which Shuhei admitted he was completely caught off guard. And that's what led to really awkward demos like Warhawk, for example.
The Warhawk one.
Yeah.
the whole PlayStation 3. I mean, that was just such a great presentation. I mean, not at the time, but looking back on it, it's still a classic to go watch. But it's just so many moments in that. The way that they held the controller, and it almost felt like they weren't sure how to move it necessarily on stage, versus how everyone else was going to end up moving it when they're actually playing. I mean, I get the idea of gyro, and this is 2006, and it's not as obvious as it is now to us with gyro and controllers, and we had the IR pointer, I guess, with the Wii, but that's interesting. They told him to him weeks before, and he had to like scramble and try to get it all together, huh? Well, that's that. Ryan is out. He's got the he's got the hands set up. All it took was that. Okay. Well, that was a good PSX. Going to give it to you to end on. Shout out to the chat. Yeah, enough. That was it. Yep. So, well, I guess that's going to do it for Click R3 number 42. It needs to be. That should be an emote. Well, there it is. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Ryan's out. I appreciate it. Everyone stopping by. I appreciate the super chats, of course, supporting the show. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks. What's the 12th? So the 26th. I will be picking up Crimson Desert next week. So I will have some thoughts and impressions on that for the show. And I think I'll probably just record on base PS5, but I'll also play it on the PS5 Pro. It's good stuff. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.